what do you know about poker? Because I know a little about poker.
Oh, okay. Uh, so here's
Yeah,
actually a way
I
that we
was
here's a way
thinking,
we can
like,
do that.
I like
The thing is, there's
cards,
chips,
like when
and
they
then
play
there's
with.
a
I know
way
about
where
the
people
chips.
can count cards.
And
And
some
counting
one time
cards is
I went with
something
my
that is
friends and we
prohibited
played
or
poker,
frowned
and
upon
then it
because
was
they
like,
don't know if
it
they
was
can
like,
actually
dude,
make it
you guys
illegal.
can't play,
The
and
thing
they were
is
all
about
like
counting
serious
cards is
players,
you have
and
to
we're
really know
playing with
how
like
to.
pennies, and I was
They
like,
reference it in
dude,
Casino.
it's
There is a way to
Anything
cheat,
here,
as
please?
is alleged
Alright.
at the beginning of the film.
That's fine. We've got
And
plenty
then
of that, Fix.
I'll have cheese on that.
I don't understand
Well,
your
I'll
problem.
overlay that and a couple other
yeah.
things that we
Did you-
say
Did you
later on.
Did the guy give you the $50? No, he gave me 25. But welcome to a Robert Altman episode. Welcome to Making Tarantino, the podcast. I'm your host, Philip Duke. On this podcast, we go through a list of movies that Quentin Tarantino likes or recommends to see what they're all about and if maybe they've influenced his work. There will be spoilers. Today, I'm joined once again by movie lover and host of Craig and Friends podcast, Craig MacNeil. Hello, Craig.
Hello, Philip. Wonderful to be with you again. And yes, that's Craig and Friends, available on all the podcast apps, YouTube, and we'll get into the social handles in the episode description below. But
Yes.
I'm so happy to be joining you anyway, but also for one of my favorites of one of my favorite directors.
It's interesting because I'm trying not to use that word. I use that word all the time.
Oh, really? That's
But,
interesting.
Where I saw The Player wasn't the first Altman movie that I saw, but The Player, if you're a movie fan, you're like, oh shit, this is The Player, awesome. And I remember me and my cousin loved it because in the movie is, you know, I think Julia Roberts is going to be killed like in an electric chair, and here comes Bruce Willis, and we were a big Bruce Willis fan. We're like, oh shit, Bruce Willis killing everybody. This is awesome. And then just all the talk, and then same thing with that around kind of the same time was LA Story, and in that they're like, can we talk about anything other than movies? And they were quiet because they had nothing else to say. And that was kind of that. But seeing MASH, and you have to be in a mood, I think, but maybe not. If you're a big fan of Altman, you're like, I'm in, let's go. But starting this movie, as we just did, there's a lot of talking over each other. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a lot. Like, you just got to settle and get in the mood and be like, okay. But there were some people that were like, that was too much. It was, they said an 8-track recording and, but
Yeah.
and I've talked about it before where Howard Hawks would do a main thing, the chunk that you need to know. The end of it is just little extra. And so our ends could meet and then you start saying your thing. And so you're talking over each other, but it works. This is just talking over each other. But it works.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say
sorry.
with Nashville,
I
I know, right? Talking over each other. With Nashville, that's where like that happens too, where there's talk over, there's people talking while the girl's dancing, such an awkward moment. Or like he'll have natural scenes like that in. Then also like I remember seeing Shortcuts and you're like, oh, what's her name from Boogie Nights? She's like got her pants off, she's ironing, and she's just wearing no pants.
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. Thank you. She's ironing her pants, and you're like, this is natural. This is normal. This is what people do, So yeah.
In the middle of an argument as well. So the context is completely as far away from some kind of sexual vibe or titillation as possible. Which is one of the things I love so much about Altman stuff. The element of realism. And naturalistic is how I think it's often described, because people aren't always talking around you, particularly in environs such as, the gambling parlors and everything. And you're hearing little snatches of conversation, which is really what it's like when you go through a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
One of my favorite uses of it in this, certain scenes where Elliot Gould is not in the forefront, but he's so full of incredible lines. Like pair of fours, shit my drawers. Like that'll pop out. So it was clearly like an intensive mixing session because his audio team would run an 8-track recorder, which was very unheard of in those days. At most, maybe there'd be a stereo recording, but generally mono. And that was definitely an innovation of
I wonder what
Altman's.
I wonder what that thing, like huge, like you see it now in film, like they'll have a little thing, of course they get smaller and smaller. But for back then, it had to be the size of this desk and like 8 tracks running and like, yeah.
Well, have you seen the Beatles documentary? I think we talked about
Yeah.
it, Get Back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was 69. And you know the giant piece of equipment that they bring in a truck because EMI
Oh,
won't
yeah.
give them one, even though they're the Beatles. So George
Yeah.
Harrison has his own personal one. That's an 8-track then. So an 8-track in
Hmm.
73, 72, 73,
Yeah.
it must have been a sizable piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
folks, California Split, as you know, we're talking about as a film about gambling,
And to
but so much
hide,
more.
and to, oh my God, to hide all of that too, all the mics and whatever. But also, it's that thing of I started watching this movie and never seen it before. We'll get to rate, review, and
Oh, cool.
subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Um, so seeing this, okay, let me get to this. And if you want more talk like this, you go to Phil on Cinema on the Patreon and you sign up there. I do Shaping Scorsese. I do Best Director. I do my Phil's film favorite, whatever. I do Physical Media
Fee Fi
Collective,
Fo Fum as
and
well, which I love. I'm a big
that's
fan of
right.
that.
I smell the blood of some Englishman, and yeah, so I do all kinds of stuff. $5 a month, and you get 2 episodes a month. So that's and sometimes press kit scans. But so yeah, I'd never seen this movie. And so I was like, okay. So it starts out, and I'm like, I don't know gambling. As I said in our opening thing of talking about poker, I had my friend said, hey, you want to come over and play poker? As my friend's brother. And we were like, okay. And they were kind of serious players, but they only played for
You were
pennies or
like,
maybe a
poker? I
little
don't
more.
even know her.
That's right. I'm like, oh, give me a Connie, give me a Jimmy. I got to put Jimmy on this thing. Um, and then but it was a thing of me there to have fun. I'm like, okay, I'll kind of learn. They're kind of upset because I'm kind of trying to learn, me and my friend Sergio, and they're just like, dude, like
Whoops.
we get together every week to do this, like, and we see that they're kind of getting upset, and finally we're like, you know what, we lost our pennies, and we're like, we're just going to be over here playing pool or doing whatever while you
Yeah.
guys do your thing. And then they were like, oh good, thank God, now we can fully play. But so at first, and then my uncle, I used to work at a casino a long time ago. My uncle said, hey, do you I want to get you a job in California, in Merced, California, which is by Yosemite. he's like he's like, I'm going to be working this casino. Maybe you if you don't have any work right now, come and live here. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like 23 or something. So I moved there, and I'm thinking this is a full move. I'm leaving Arizona to go here. And I get there. He's like, you're working in a casino. I'm thinking, oh, I'll be wearing a suit and a tie. And I'll be like, hey, yeah, there's cheater on table 12.
Yeah.
And I was like, this will be awesome. And then I get there. It's a 1 floor building with Texas
Yeah.
Hold'em. And that's it. Like just maybe about
Just
10 or
that.
8 guys playing Texas Hold'em. And when I
Yeah.
get there, the guy
Real
goes,
cheerful looking guys too, I'm sure.
yeah. And and it's right next to like a pool hall next door.
Yeah.
And so they were like, we need
Those were
security
always full of really happy people as well.
yeah,
Never a grim environment. It's always a very like soothing, relaxing environment in a pool hall.
exactly. Your sound went down a little bit. And they
Did
say,
it?
but
Oh.
with those guys, they go, we want you out there to watch the cars in case those kids fuck with our cars. So I'm like, okay. So as I get hired on that day, then the owner goes, so do you want this? He's got like a wallet with a badge in it. Do you want? I go, no, I don't need that. Okay. So I'm just walking around for 8 hours at night while they're playing from 7 to 3 in the morning. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, and I would watch the trains go by and go, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I wish I was on that train leaving here. Like, what am I doing? And missing my friends because I wasn't old enough to understand, like, okay, I'm ready to leave. So it was kind of like I was
Yeah.
missing home. So I had to tell my uncle, like getting a divorce. I was like, Uncle, I know we bought me a bed and all this stuff, and we've been going to the video store renting movies, but I'm not happy. I want to go back home. He's like, I had a feeling I had to be a certain age when I left. So
Yeah.
I get it. So, but that was the thing. I thought it would be a fancy casino. And so watching this, I know it's good that they don't dive into the gambling where you have to know what cards are what, like what's going on. You're just kind of thrown in and you get it. And when the movie starts, and I think you're thinking this because you're like, oh, Elliot Gould, George Siegel, like this is, they know each other. Oh shit, what's going to happen? And then they don't know each other. And you're like, oh, cool. And they meet at the bar and they, I'll bet you money that I can do know all the dwarves. And it's great that they don't. And then that thing happens later when they are hanging out. And it's like,
Well, yeah,
motherfucker, you
but the
guys
the,
cheat.
the
Yeah.
great. I remember the first time I watched it, and I think what I like is there's suspense. You don't know. Do they know each other? That card was a little funny. That almost flies off the thing.
Yeah.
But there's an incredible device for exposition in this. So this is another thing of with an Altman movie. One of the reasons I love his stuff so much is you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
There's no like fucking around and going, well, they're not talking right now. So, well, people do that bullshit stuff that I hate. Everyone knows that I hate. So as soon as the movie starts, you see you're in a casino. Elliot Gould enters after you see a guy putting scores up on a thing. It doesn't look terribly glamorous because it isn't. And it's kind of like a bingo parlor.
Yeah.
And he walks in and they're getting randomly assigned to tables to be in card games. But while Elliot Gould is waiting for his call, he watches an instructional video or a slideshow basically back then. And it's like poker, the way, and it explains basically the game.
And how the tables,
essentials.
how you're assigned, like it's World of Poker, but it's not fancy in Vegas. It's like a little card room with, couple 5 or 6 tables.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that gives you the immediate information that you need in almost a way that you don't even realize because there's so much going on. And you hear, again, the naturalistic blending of dialogue, you hear little snatches of things. The dialogue in those scenes is fantastic. Not just Elliot Gould's jabs and jests, which are great, especially when he's playing with all the elderly ladies.
Yeah, it's the natural thing of him talking to that lady, like, hey, what are you're doing pretty good, whatever. The thing of, I wonder how many times they had to do it, but it seemed so natural. But you understand if you've seen enough they do a cool thing, speaking about Ocean's 11. See, I told you we'd do this. They talk about how many people tried to steal from the casinos in Ocean's 11. And they do that in Casino too. And they catch them. And so with that, you can see if a card falls off the table, kind of the rule is no, it's fucking, we got to take that whole deck and we got to do it again. But he catches it above the table and not below the table. So you're like, I kind of get it. But also, if I'm going to complain, you might, okay, this guy complained. We're going to have to redo. Sorry.
Well, the guy's not just complaining, though. He's been an asshole the whole time. There's a guy, basically, George Siegel is, it's his turn to deal. He's dealing out the cards, and his character, as he says, threw the card a little bit too hard, and it bounced. Gould catches it, which, of course, we're privy to seeing it. And anyway, it didn't fall on the floor, but however many people 8 people are at the table, no one wants to get in the middle of this. So they act like they didn't see it. And the guy goes, look, I saw it leave the table. After that, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened back there. No one wants to cop to it because there's this disgusting, sweaty, angry drunk who's losing his shirt. And it's an ugly shirt. And so he alleges, he's like, these 2 fucking guys know each other because he can't accept that he's going to lose. Which brings me to one of the things I want to say that I think is so moving about the film is that, yes, it's about gambling, but it's about a whole lot more. It's about delusion and the potential to throw your life down the drain, the strange routes one can take, and whether it's gambling or other things, but in this, the principal engine is gambling. And also, what are you doing with your life and how much are you telling the truth to yourself? And to me, that is as gripping as the gambling itself, even though it's intertwined. Like their fates are sealed, or rather, the fates are dependent on the activities of the gambling. And throughout, there are these horrific ups and downs of, they're up. They just won like 15,000. Wow. And then thinking about $1973, there's a figure later on near the end of the film that is roughly $620,000 in today's money.
Yeah. It's, well, there's that. There's the thing of that they kind of show that, Gould will bet on anything. And it's a little bit of George Siegel's just kind of in it, but kind of not, but also like borrowing money and all that, which is a great scene. I love that scene at the
That's when we
at the
realize he's way deeper in it
yeah.
than we think, because of his countenance, because he works at a very high level job, because he ostensibly like makes money, and he's got nice clothing, so you don't realize. And I think that's a cool comment as well.
Yeah, and where like I'm not a gambler person who, when me and the wife go to Vegas, we go to either see the shows or eat the food or, go to Cirque du Soleil, but we won't gamble because we're like, why? Like, if you win, you're okay, cool, but we're not like going to continue. But that's a thing of this being written by Joseph Walsh, who's a gambler who knows how to, and is like, I'm going to write the best fucking story ever. And it's like, oh, okay. And it makes sense and it's great. And when you hear all of his stories and that he's an actor, that was in some things, and that's what else was good on the thing that you and I read, this article, these 3 articles. It's really
Shout
cool.
out to Kim Morgan. She does a lot of stuff, I believe, on the New Beverly site.
Yeah.
Tremendous cinema journalist who did a phenomenal 3-part chat with George Siegel and Elliot Gould around the time of the 40th anniversary,
and Joseph Walsh, and
Joseph Walsh, of course,
and that Elliot and Joseph are friends, and him and George Siegel, and the thing of Elliot Gould remembering like, oh yeah, I remember I was doing this and I was doing, and you're like, oh wow.
But wait, I want to put it. I'm sorry, right. I want to just put a pin in it for a moment, and just for the kids out there who haven't seen the movie. I know it's only a few of them because it's like bigger than Back to the Future, but so there's there are 2 gamblers, the ones we mentioned, Elliot Gould and George Siegel, who meet through this incident that we talk about, because there's a big brouhaha, a fracas, if you will, a big fight. George Siegel gets punched. He crawls out of there, and it sort of shows their characters a little bit. It's Gould is very loud. He's still not going to step down. He's not going to just get away. He's going to keep harassing that guy, but he keeps his cool in enough that he can use his taunting techniques to get the other person to blow their cool. And that guy gets pulled away and everything. And even the other people who are giving him shit, he tells them to go fuck off in a very funny way. Even though he is sort of the epitome of danger. There's another word I'm trying to... Embodiment of danger in a lot of the things that he does and the way he lives. George Siegel is clearly more mild-mannered. Now they meet up later, as you mentioned, at a bar, and Siegel's a little reticent to talk and everything, but they strike up a convo, and then suddenly they're like the best of friends. And this is something else that I find just... I'll use for you interesting, fascinating about the film is that it has a lot to say about A, loneliness, right? And then B, male companionship, and also how having like a drinking buddy or gambling buddy or nefarious activity buddy, it creates this other thing that isn't necessarily a friendship or a relationship that's good for you.
Yeah, my dad had a guy. My dad one day was like, called me and he goes, Marco died, his buddy at the bar. And I was like, oh shit. I go, really? He goes, yeah. I go, well, when's his funeral? Because I want to go. I don't know. What's his last name? Let me look it up. I don't know. No, Miss Marco. He's Marco. Comes in the bar. Hey, Marco. Hey, Phil. That's it. And I'm like, this is your best friend and you don't know his last name. But that's that thing, like at bars. And like I've told you, me and the wife go on Sundays. We call it church. Her and her friend go to decompress after the nursing stuff. And so we'll go on Sunday. We call it church, but it's a bar. I go there and I do like that environment. Everybody's kind of chilling. They're all talking. People are talking across the bar to somebody else. They're joking. They're making, and you're like, you could see how you can make friends with somebody, but that's your friend here. And that's it. Like you wouldn't know.
Yeah. But situational. There's a lot of stuff in life that is situational. Sometimes we can make the mistake that it's not.
But also being, and I think it was more, it might be that now, but you and I don't hang out with those kind of people, but where in the 70s,
I've never been to Arizona, Phil.
You know what I mean? In the 70s where someone could go like him, like be like, hey, you want to come back to my place? Okay. Like, I'll go. And then, you show, you want something to eat? How about some
Just to
cereal?
be clear, to
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
clarify for everybody, it's I'll give you a ride. I can give you a ride after they get the
yeah,
shit beat out of them.
yeah,
It's not so. Hey, you want to come over to my
yeah,
place?
yeah,
Even though
yeah, right. Yeah,
they
yeah,
do have a rather risque moment with
yeah,
some shaving cream.
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. But anyway, let me get to this first
It's
tagline.
very
Being this,
intimate, by the way, when so they're beat up to
yeah,
shit, and Elliot Gould is putting some shaving
they
cream
got
on a particularly
menthol
nasty
shaving
bruise.
cream that he
That's right.
says is cooling and feels good, and you're like, I guess that would work. But
And
again,
see,
this
yeah.
is guys who I remember I burned my face. I had like second-degree burns on my face from opening a car that the radiator and the water sprayed on my face.
Oh no.
And but I was like, oh, all I got to do is put water on it, right? I'm a guy. I'm like, I live by myself. I'll put some ice on it. I'll put some water on, whatever. And then the next day, I go to answer the door. Me and my friend are going to go shooting, and he sees that I'm all like scabbed up, and he's like, "Oh Jesus, what happened to you?" I'm like, "Ah, it's fine. I'll be okay. I'm going to put some more ice on." We go shooting. We come back. Finally, I'm like, man, other people see me at work, and they're like, "Dude, you need to go to the hospital." Now it's
Yeah.
3 days later. I go to the
Oh my
hospital,
god.
and they're like, "You should have came in the day that it happened." And they go, "So we can put Neosporin on it, and here is a card to go see a plastic surgeon." And I'm like, "Oh
Wow.
shit!" Like, oh my god. So then they put that Neosporin on. Then I go home, and then I made the appointment for like Monday to go there. And then next thing, when I woke up, that Neosporin had made that whole scab like come off, and then it
Uh,
looked better, but it was real pink. Then I go to the plastic surgeon. He just goes, "Keep putting Neosporin on it. Like, keep doing that. Give me $25. Keep doing that."
uh,
I went back the next week. Keep doing that. I'm like, okay, this looking better. I'm not going to pay more money to keep having you tell me this. So it ended up working out where I was like, okay, but it's that thing of being guys where you're just like, oh, I'm hurt. Well, this shaving cream's kind of menthol, kind of, let's do that. Okay. And you put that on your
yeah.
cuts or whatever.
But then
Um,
there's that interestingly intimate moment where so Elliot Gould has his shirt up and he's putting it on, and Siegel's like,
yeah,
"Oh, what's that?" And he explains what he's doing,
yeah,
and then he's like, "Here, you want to try some?" And so he pulls up his very refined turtleneck,
mm-hmm.
and Gould sprays some on him, and that's fine. The normal, not fine. But
Yeah,
then he applies it for him. He rubs it on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then it's a very unique moment, and then
yeah,
his roommates, his gal pals, who
yeah.
are also fascinating characters
Oh, yeah,
that I love,
yeah.
Barbara and I'm forgetting the other lady's name,
I
but
have it
Barbara's
written down
important.
here.
Barbara
Yeah.
will come up again later, but his two roommates are two
Susan
prostitutes.
and Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara and Susan, or Susan and Barbara, depending on how they wanted to
Yeah,
be billed in the songwriting credits.
that's right.
So Susan has an attachment problem to the Johns, the gentlemen that they see. They are ladies of the night, sometimes of the early afternoon,
Yes.
sometimes of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And Barbara is more hard bitten, more realistic, and there's clearly a sisterly bond between them. There's an element of what Paul Thomas Anderson does in this film and many other Altman films, sort of like found family, or how there is a family dynamic
Yeah.
to a lot of these groups of characters.
Yeah. Boogie
And
Nights, Magnolia is all like, this is all one big family almost. Yeah.
yeah, and this is, I think, in tone or in terms of the context, rather, of the lifestyle, would be closer to the Boogie Nights thing,
Yeah.
and an unexpectedly touching situation, because in particular later with Burt Remsen, but I'd like to get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that moment is fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Especially given the tendency of films of that time.
Yeah. Oh, big
or
time.
even later on, like Crocodile
Even,
Dundee.
yeah. Even in 81, I told you about Partners with,
Yeah. Oh, I'm very fond of that film.
All of a sudden, it's a good movie, but all of a sudden they're like, "Well, you're going to be the gay guy," and then they go, "They brought your car, and it's a pink Volkswagen," and you're like, "Really?" And then they're like, "You got to dress like this," and he's like, "What?" And
Yeah.
and you would think that he would understand. He never gets to understanding it. He's never like,
No, right.
telling, but
John Hurt. But
John
anyway,
Hurt,
just
yes.
to wrap up a bit about the house, what you learn quickly is that Siegel is now in this person's life, and he's at the house. Now, they're very welcoming people. So there's an interesting thing that challenges the audience. They're very welcoming, but they're also hygienically perhaps a little less than ideal.
Yeah.
There's only two things to eat for breakfast, and they're lucky that they have breakfast there because they were bailed out by Barbara.
Yeah.
They were because they got arrested for drunk and disorderly, even though they just had the piss beat out them.
Yeah.
So they're rescued from there by Barbara. They come home. George Siegel's car has been impounded, so he can't leave. That's what I remember thinking. I thought, oh yeah, this would be the time to leave. And he goes, I can't get my car. So they're very welcoming. They're like, you crash on the couch, and he's our eyes in those moments. Like we're seeing what's the dynamic of them in the rest. Susan is still crying about the guy she was with, but we're not really clear on that. That clarity comes on later as to her attachment issues. She may well have borderline personality disorder, which is not really terrific if you're a sex worker.
And that bartender or whoever was like, I just gave you money and she's like, no, I need like 50, or he's like, I gave you 30 or 20 something. And you're like,
wait, that wasn't Susan though at the bar.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No. That's another thing. So let's stay at the bar, right? So they're making friends, and there's a great cut between, all right, yeah, I'll have a beer, and he no, thank you, it's nothing personal. Ellie Gould offers him a beer, nothing personal, but I have a beer.
Yeah.
And saying like, no, thank you, but I'm fine by myself. He's reading the paper, and then Gould persists, and everything's very charming, and then he goes, you know what, I will have a beer, and then suddenly there's 12 glasses lined up, and they're singing these old timey songs and having a grand old time. But in the midst of this, and this is another example of where the naturalistic mixing of dialogue is so beautifully enhances what's going on. We're seeing a lot of the seedy underground of, not underground, but I guess backdrop. There is a stripper who we don't realize is a stripper. There's a woman talking to her, pleading for $30. Now, because they're in a gambling town, we think maybe it's gambling stuff. Right. The camera slowly pulls back. As it pulls back, it's revealed that the woman that is being asked for the money has no bottoms on. She, she's nude, and at least from the bottom down, right? Yeah. So the woman's asking her, and she's like, "I can't give you $30. I don't have $30." Then, while they're talking at the bar, she comes up. They're still talking. They're still doing their thing, and so now there's two conversations going on, and it's your choice to focus on which one. Hers is more gripping, and she asks for the $30. It's a strange bartender. They argue about it a little bit, but she gets the $30, and then she goes back and she goes, "Okay, Mom, and here." And so then you realize this is is the milieu. Like this woman's mother seemingly is begging her for drug money. It doesn't seem like it's gambling because it's $30.
Yeah. Very true. See, look at that. How dare I? How dare I forget that? And what I was getting at earlier when I said it, and then I'll read all this synopsis of the movie. But the thing was, so I watched this movie, and we were going to record before. So I watch it. I'm like, okay, good. And then when I don't record, I had the same thing happen to me with Dead End Drive-In, where I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I haven't watched this in 2 weeks now. And now I'm recording, like, hang on, I gotta, and so when I have somebody else, oh yeah, that part. Yeah, let's talk about that, or whatever. But when you forget like the feeling that you had, like this movie was at this level, it's what I love about the movies that I watch sometimes. It'll be at this level, and all of a sudden toward the end, it skyrocketed. And I'm like, oh, this is, perfect. But anyway, tagline.
Well, no, to that point, we'll get to those moments. We'll get to those moments. It's one of the most edge of your seat last half hours in a film. And I don't want to oversell it, but a gambling film, if it's not well done, you don't give a rat's ass. Yeah. But if it's well done, for instance, like Let It Ride, you really care about these people. And you really care what happens. Yeah. And that's an excellent film. And I know that Antonio, did a video essay for the fabulous Cinema Force, who happens, to be the sponsor
that's right.
of this show. We'll play their spot later, but now, Phil's got something important to say.
But that's that thing of where it's kind of like a hangout movie, like Dazed and Confused. You're just hanging out with these guys, and you're like, okay, where's this going? And then as it slowly goes, now you're like, I'm on the ride. Like, I'm not just hanging out. Now I'm in it. And it's so much fun. Tagline: being the story of two bet on anything guys who happily discover something called a winning streak.
Yeah, that's happily
The
right.
Yeah,
They really didn't know how to market this movie.
exactly. That's that we'll get to later of what you and I read. California Split, 1974. Slide was the original title, and the writer Joseph Walsh said, "quote The way that name came out was Altman and I were down scouting all of Gardena and all of the card clubs, and wondering if we could build it ourselves because we couldn't get the time from them. It would be 4 hours a day." And some gambler there asked us what we were doing. And I said, "We're going to do a gambling movie." And he misunderstood because I said, "We'll open with low ball rather than high." And he says, "Oh, California Split, you mean?" And Altman and I looked at each other and, "California Split? What do you think?" And that's high and low poker. That's what it's called out here. And that's how it got its name. We had no idea if it was right or wrong. That just sounds good. End quote. And you're like, yeah, it's perfect.
It's a brilliant name. It's a brilliant
Yeah,
name.
yeah, it works. And the plot: carefree single guy, Charlie Waters, rooms with two lovely prostitutes, Barbara Miller and Susan Peters, and lives to gamble. Along with the glum betting buddy, Bill Denny, Charlie sets out on a gambling streak in search of the ever elusive big payday. While Charlie and Bill have some lucky moments, they also have to contend with serious setbacks that threaten to derail the hedonistic betting binge, their hedonistic betting binge. Before I get to that, I want to talk about when I did my thing on Patreon for Steven Spielberg, there's a movie he did that first pilot of or the part of it, the Joan Crawford one. And if you don't know the Night Gallery, the Joan Crawford one is she's rich and she's blind, but she can pay enough money to get somebody's eyes. The guy they get is Tom Bosley, where it's kind of like a hangout movie, like Dazed and Confused. You're just hanging out with these guys and you're like, okay, where's this going? And then as it slowly go, now you're like, I'm on the ride. Like I'm not just hanging out. Now I'm in it. And it's so much fun. Tagline: being the story of two bet on anything guys who happily discover something called a winning streak.
Yeah, that's happily right. They really didn't know how to market this movie.
Exactly. That's that we'll get to later of what you and I read. California Split, 1974. Slide was the original title, and the writer Joseph Walsh said, "quote The way that name came out was Altman and I were down scouting all of Gardena and all of the card clubs, and wondering if we could build it ourselves because we couldn't get the time from them. It would be 4 hours a day." And some gambler there asked us what we were doing. And I said, "We're going to do a gambling movie." And he misunderstood because I said, "We'll open with low ball rather than high." And he says, "Oh, California Split, you mean?" And Altman and I looked at each other and, "California Split? What do you think?" And that's high and low poker. That's what it's called out here. And that's how it got its name. We had no idea if it was right or wrong. That just sounds good. End quote. And you're like, yeah, it's perfect.
It's a brilliant name. It's a brilliant name.
Yeah, yeah, it works. And the plot: carefree single guy, Charlie Waters, rooms with two lovely prostitutes, Barbara Miller and Susan Peters, and lives to gamble. Along with the glum betting buddy, Bill Denny, Charlie sets out on a gambling streak in search of the ever elusive big payday. While Charlie and Bill have some lucky moments, they also have to contend with serious setbacks that threaten to derail the hedonistic betting binge, their hedonistic betting binge. Before I get to that, I want to talk about when I did my thing on Patreon for Steven Spielberg, there's a movie he did that first pilot of or the part of it, the Joan Crawford one. And if you don't know the Night Gallery, the Joan Crawford one is she's rich and she's blind, but she can pay enough money to get somebody's eyes. The guy they get is Tom Bosley. And they go, "Okay, we're going to take your eyes." And he's a gambler. And he's like, and there's a scene in there when the doctors are telling him, like, "Look, you're going to get this much money, but you're not going to be able to see." And he's like, He's like, well, I'll bet money that, like, he's still betting. He's like,
Yeah.
I need to pay the loan sharks, and so I need this money, but also he's like wanting to bet right then. And he's like, I'll give you 2 to 1 that, I make it out or whatever, whatever. And you're like, oh shit, like that's that addict, and Tom
Yeah.
Bosley, does it
Degenerate
good.
gambler. That's
Yeah,
the
where
general term for it. Yeah.
yeah,
Bet on
and
anything and anything, no
yeah,
matter what, and no matter how dire the circumstances that you're in at the moment.
it's insane,
Apparently,
but
gambling
it
is one of the
is.
worst. I'm sorry, but we're doing that
Mhm.
naturalistic thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ta- um, Gambling, I believe, is one of the hardest addictions to kick. It's also one of the most destructive to the loved ones of the
Yeah.
afflicted, because
Yeah.
oftentimes what happens is they keep it secret, and then
Mhm.
entire inheritances or
As
401ks are totally devastated.
as we heard about in that article, I didn't write it down, but there was that one producer who, Josh was like, this guy on low key was like betting. George Siegel's like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, he would put his wife to bed. He would go hop on a plane, fly to Vegas, gamble for 4 hours, come back, get in bed before his wife woke up, and then be like, oh honey, good morning. And it's like, oh my God. But it is
God.
that thing of like just gambling where, you're trying to stay afloat, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, wait, I'm losing everything. And with and it is that thing of, it's just hard to, like, and it's the same thing with any addiction like drinking or drugs or whatever, where you just go, oh no, I just need this. And that's what's great about this movie, not to jump to the end, but the ending, like, I don't feel anything. And it's like, oh, like that's, perfect.
Well, and
But
again, this is
anyway,
a big spoiler. Big
yes.
spoilers. You just seriously
Yes, I
skip the
told
next
you there'd
minute
be
or so
spoilers.
if
Yeah.
you don't want it spoiled.
Yeah.
They do have that one last big score,
Yeah.
but the key is that that's it for George Siegel. And not only
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
for him and gambling, it is. The
Yeah.
performance is just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's also it for him and Charlie. That
Yeah.
is that. It is
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when
And Charlie knows it too. They know it
Charlie
without
knows.
saying it. He just like walks off, and Charlie's just like, okay, I guess I got the money now. And Charlie's just doesn't miss a beat. He's ready to go back out, and and it is that thing of, we're not gamblers, but you could see that ride where if you're, oh my God, I'm high on winning, and go, go, go. And then when you win, and some people go, when you win, you should just stop. But that's what a gambler can't do. No, it's going to be bigger the next time. It's the same thing, almost not the same with drugs. It's like, well, now I need more cocaine to appease me, because now I've done so much that I need more and more. And, and then
Oh,
you're,
and just this one
just
last
lost.
time, and just this one
Yeah.
last time. One of the most remarkable character moments in the film is when there's the turnaround during that
Mhm.
last stretch of the film,
Mhm.
where Siegel is on a mission
Mhm.
and he is up $11,000, which is a phenomenal amount of money, takes care of all the debts, everything.
Yeah.
And suddenly Elliot Gould says, man, just let's stop now. Stop now. Like, we're doing
Mhm.
great. Like, what if this all goes away? And that's when Siegel is now the fearless, not overly confident one, but confident one.
Yeah.
And Gould, when he slips back into his sort of, let's say, persona, not on screen persona, but like
Yeah.
in life persona of the guy
Yeah.
with the quips and constantly talking, that's a guy you can see the pain in him
Mhm.
multiple times, right?
Yeah.
He can understand that Susan has this type of problem, and when he cares about people, because Susan's clearly upset, and he goes in and tells her a bunch of hogwash to make her feel better. And
Yeah.
then when Bill is at his wit's end, big thumbs up, thank you,
I know.
Riverside.
I know, right?
When he's at his wit's end and he can't even talk to him because he's so angry,
Yeah.
he does that one-arm piccolo player thing, something stupid to make him laugh. So he cares a lot about people, and I'm sure that it was hurtful for Charlie. But I think we know that Charlie's probably going to continue doing what he does because it's seemingly the only thing he lives for.
Yeah, I think he just stays afloat enough. Like, he's just like, I'm good enough. But it is that thing toward the end when he's like, just give me some money. And he's like, no, this is for this. he's like, give me, and he gives him like a nickel, whatever, to go play nickel slots, and like
No, he
that's all
doesn't
he.
even
And
give.
then
He
he's
doesn't
like,
even give that to him. He has a dollar or two on him. He can
oh
afford a roll
yeah,
of
yeah,
nickels and a Milky Way, which he
yeah,
then
yeah,
tries to
that's
bet.
right, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. And so
The
he's just,
best bit
and
about
then
the
he's
Milky Way, he goes like, "Okay, I'm in for a Milky Way, sir. Sorry, the minimum bet is a dollar. Okay, honey,
yeah,
you're going to be here a long time, and pretty soon that Milky Way is going to start looking pretty good."
yeah. Oh, so good. Um, Starring George Siegel as Bill Denny. So he didn't know gambling. I know you know this, but they don't know this. He didn't know gambling at all and felt bad about it. And what's interesting on there, he said, like, that would be like me in a hockey movie. Like, I don't know about hockey. Like, what am I going to do? And so finally they talked him into it. And then for research, the writer, Joseph Walsh, who, like I said, is a professional gambler, had him go to gamble with his own money against some of the best of the best. He said, this is a murderer's row that you're going to be playing against, Armadillo Slim, who was one of the guys who's in the movie at the end.
Yeah.
And he was like, played against, and he actually won. He ended up losing, but he won for a little bit. And he said Armadillo Slim was like giving him like nods, like whenever he was like, he goes, I don't know. And it's that gambling thing. He said, I don't know how he knew what cards I have, but he would give me a nod to go ahead and put money down or do whatever. And he goes, he would nod or he wouldn't. And I knew when to play, when not to. And he goes, and I ended up winning, but then later lost 6,000 of his own money.
Right. Yeah.
And Elliot Gould said, that's a good thing, because in movies now they would be like, here's $6,000, go and play and lose our money. And he goes, but that was good, like for them to have him lose his own money
to know
and be
the pain.
Like, oh, and he said, and I felt it, but also he understood it, but he wasn't addicted to it. But it was really neat. And that helped him get into his character. Also, writer Joseph Walsh said that Robert De Niro came to read and talk to Altman about the part because they loved him in Mean Streets, but they could tell like he didn't know about like about playing poker and gambling, and it was just
also though it was that Altman completely fucked up the pitch to De Niro, and I believe it's Walsh, right, who said he could just tell from the way his eyes cast downward that he wasn't into it and he didn't want it, and that's how the meeting was going to go. They can play out the rest of the formalities, and this again goes to what Siegel was saying about the pro Armadillo Slim just knowing what was going on, which is an example of which is later in the film as we're ramping up on the giant roller coaster of terror when they're looking at the major poker players and they're running down what kind of guy each one of them is, what likely is going to be the thing that tells you that they're losing, when this guy's going to give up, which guy to look out for, all of that. And the bartender goes, hey, you did a pretty good job on that. And they can tell which guy's going to be the one to quit. Yeah. That will open up a chair for
where he was like, this old man, he's a doctor, this guy. And then, Armadillo Slim shows up, he's got this wad of money. He's like that. He always carried $8,000 with him, like ready to bet. And sure enough, when he talked to Joseph, I didn't write it down, but when he first met Joseph, came off the plane, whatever. And Joseph was like, hey, and he goes, he's like, and they're in the casino. And Joseph's like, I'll bet you on Keno, like the first number it's going to be picked is 9. I'll bet you $400. And he pulls out his money and he pulls out his money. It was 9. He goes, okay. And he paid him. And then Armadillo Slim was like, well, let's go again. And he goes, no, we're good. And Armadillo Slim was like, I like you, because he knew that somebody else would be like, okay,
Yeah, he respected that. Yeah, it's like that thing about mafioso guys. Chaz Palminteri, tons of people like that tell stories about like, don't let them get into your life, or don't let them do you a favor, or what have you, because then that's it. Then you owe them forever. But if you refuse them politely, it's like you're saying one thing and it's saying something else. You know what I mean? It's almost like a code, and they respect that, and they'll never ever bother them again. It's like Friedkin and Michael Biehn. Oh, and a lot of those gamblers, besides Armadillo Slim, I believe there are some Gamblers Anonymous members.
Which is weird, because you would think even though you're pretending, it still might fuel something. Like if you're drinking a near beer at a bar and you're an XL, like you're going to be like, wait, I missed the buzz. Let me go have a real beer, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I know. Is it good to
Elliot,
have the taste in your mouth, even if I don't know? Yeah.
I mean, beer doesn't taste good, but yet I find myself like, give me a beer. And I'm like, what am I doing? I did find a new
Cold
thing.
beer
I did
draft.
find a I did find a thing on Instagram. It was whipped vodka with some Gatorade, and it's like really good. And I'm like, honey, look at that. And she's like, yeah, no, it sounds gross. And I'm like, well, I might try it.
Well, I don't know what the deal is in Arizona, but at least on the East Coast, flavored vodka is like the biggest thing. And Pinnacle makes about 40 flavors. They have cinnamon bun. They have cotton candy. And I used to design cocktails for my dance night. And I haven't had alcohol in, I don't know, a long time.
Do you have the ballet shoes and the tutu and everything? Your dance night? You're a
yes,
good dancer?
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Nice,
So when we approach the bar, I have everyone take a shot.
You did like Charlie Chaplin. You had the tray, and you could do flips, and
that's all part of the discipline that we learn. It's a bit of jazz, a bit of tap, and a bit of daring do, as I like to call it. It's a proprietary performance style that you'll be seeing a lot more of soon on this show and on my show.
Oh, good.
Craig and Friends.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a drink that I designed called Xanadu, which is cotton candy vodka, blue curacao, and then a lot of club soda because you got to kill that sweetness somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've heard it's a humdinger. If you do get one of those sweetened vodkas, try some club soda. It'll cut the sweetness, and you'll thank me later. All right, now back to the show.
When we were in Vegas, the wife did whipped vodka with the zero orange crush, and it tastes like a creamsicle. It was delicious. Anyway, Elliot Gould as Charlie Waters, Ann Prentice as Barbara Miller, Gwen Wells as Susan Peters, Edward Walsh as Lou, Joseph Walsh as Sparky, Burt Ramson, who we're going to talk about later, as Helen Brown, and Barbara Ruick as Reno barmaid. Of course, we have to mention her, and we'll talk about that later. But Joseph Walsh's brother, Edward, playing Lou, like he talks about in that article that we read, and we'll get to it, but about Charlie, Charlie being kind of like him. And that Elliot Gould and Joseph knowing each other is like he went through all of his gambling stuff. So he knows how to be this character. And that's why he was like, I want to do this movie. And Altman's like, I don't know. Like, come on, I already used you once. Like, wait a minute. And he's like, no, I need it. So, but
that's right. Yeah. He wasn't going to cast him. And they'd already done Long Goodbye together, right?
Yeah. I think so. Was that,
they wanted someone else. I can't remember who.
They did MASH. I'm not sure when.
Well, they did MASH and then 75? Long Goodbye. Okay. You know what? I hate this, but that I don't have the chronology in order in my head at the moment. Okay. Well, no, wait. So, okay, I'm gonna try this from memory.
Okay.
Altman did. I could do before MASH if I wanted to show off, but
we'll just say MASH show off.
Yeah.
I'll bring it
he
up
did
here.
MASH, then he followed up with Brewster McCloud and McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Yeah, McCabe and Mrs. Miller was the first time the multi-layered audio was done, but it was very tricky to get the prints, or rather the final audio done well. And apparently the picture wasn't quite right either. So that was a leading factor in the bad reviews that came out for McCabe and Mrs. Miller. But then they fixed that stuff and re-released it, which is kind of an amazing thing these days to think about a re-release.
And that was one where we didn't have a Tarantino talks, but Tarantino tells a story of he met Altman and was like, hey man, I'm a big fan of your work. And Altman was kind of like, I don't care for you. And Tarantino, because of that, I think was like, I don't like The Long Goodbye as much as I thought I did. I don't like the transfer of, I bought a brand new thing of McCabe and Miss Miller and it looks like it's filmed through a sock and it looks horrible. And it's like, okay, I think you're just picking because somebody doesn't like you. So now you don't like that guy's films.
He still likes some, but I remember in that story, which I think he told on Video Archives or maybe somewhere else, but he didn't like that Altman kind of gave him the brush off. So he went up to him later and he told him, I think that he goes, yeah, that song, the title song of, I can't remember which movie, maybe Thieves Like Us. I'm getting mixed up. But he's like, I know you didn't use it in the movie, and it's such a great song. So I used it in my movie, and it was like, and he knew that would piss Altman off, and it did. It infuriated him.
Yeah.
So okay, I was right. Just
yeah,
look it up. It goes MASH.
You were right. I was looking up. Then Nashville after Split. Yeah, it's
it's a remarkable.
You know what I didn't know until reading this. It was amazing to me. Images. I didn't know he did Images. I thought Images was done by like somebody like one of those Italian director, like somebody like it's because it's so so arty looking, and it looks like it's almost like who's the guy that did that Max von Sydow movie where he plays against death. Ingmar Bergman. It seems like an Ingmar. Yeah, Dave Thomas.
He did actually do a Max von Sydow film, Strange Brew.
But it see, there's something else I learned. Oh my God, he did Strange Brew and Popeye. That's crazy.
No. Max von Sydow is Brewmeister Smith in Strange Brew.
But I meant, you meant that he did.
Altman did not direct.
Strange Brew. I was like, wait a minute.
Images though is amazing.
It's one where I was like, oh my God, like I didn't even know.
And I have to add, so we were talking about when we first saw the movie and everything, back in the ye old days, in the 90s at some point, I had seen Shortcuts. That was my first Altman that I was aware of. I saw MASH as a kid in 1982. There was a re-release, and I really wanted to see Kenny Rogers in Six Pack. My brother said absolutely not, and he took me to see MASH, and I dug it. But I don't know what a 6-year-old gleans from that film.
Suicide's painless.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
And of course, you know the story about that. Altman's son made more on royalties from MASH than Altman did, because Altman could have had a piece of that movie, but he basically told one of the executives to go fuck themselves and talked about him negatively in public. So he lost out on royalties that he could have had. They were going to give him points after the success of the movie. But his son wrote the lyrics to Suicide is Painless, the Johnny Mercer tune. And even though it's played in instrumental form on the television show, his son made a tidy sum off of that.
I was wondering if Altman got money for the TV show, because that would have been like, oh, I'm good.
I don't think no. He didn't get a shred of that money, or just any of the film profits after his initial fee. But MASH did launch him into the stratosphere and allow him to basically do a bunch of weird movies immediately after that.
And kind of be his own person of like, hey, I'm going to do this where everybody's going to talk over each other. This is what it is, and just, kind of free reign to do whatever he wants,
And also, if you look at the list, McCabe and Mrs. Miller is the most mainstream of them because it's Warren Beatty, Julie Christie. However, it's really strange. There's snow everywhere.
I still haven't seen it, and I think it's because of that. Like, I'm like, am I in the mood for this weirdness? But I might have been like you the first time. Maybe I saw Shortcuts first, or when I really knew, maybe I was like, oh, let me see the player. Then I went back and saw Shortcuts, and then I went back and saw MASH. And the first time I saw MASH, I was like, it was too much talk. I was like, I can't,
See, I love that. That's like that's a huge selling point for me.
But then you go back and then you're like I said, being in the mood to be like, okay, now I can decipher it. And I remember my dad didn't like the TV show. He's like, I hate MASH. I go, why? He goes, that guy's always going to have those clever quips to come. I go, that's what, it's just a show. Like every show is like that. You're saying Seinfeld isn't good because, so.
Well, and you know what? They just drank too much on that show. I would like if, in a bizarro world, alternate universe, that every single Robert Altman movie was turned into a television series. Like, for instance, this, or Images actually would be a great TV series. Like, how bad, how much would it be perverted from its original form into it's like she's just a wacky housewife, and sometimes she doesn't know if she killed her husband. See what happens tonight at 9 with Susanna York in Images. So,
and with that movie, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Images. I remember watching Images, and I was like, this is where Images was the first time that I learned that Arbogin did other things besides Benson.
Renee Auberginois.
Renee. I was like, I know that guy from Benson. Like, wait a minute. I'm like,
Isn't that cool?
Shit. And then he was in Star Trek Next Generation.
And wait, I have
yeah.
more. I have more
Uh-oh.
old
Uh-oh.
folk stuff. So I saw Shortcuts in the theater, and
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned something about being pulled to a thing with the Bruce Willis aspect of the player.
Yeah.
Well, I loved Tom Waits, was particularly obsessed with him at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I found one of the two theaters in Massachusetts playing Shortcuts and went to go see it. And I still remember being in the theater, being blown away by this movie. It was instantly my new favorite movie. I couldn't wait to see it again, and then I got it on tape, watched it a number of times, and then got to see the anniversary screening of it. I don't know, sometime in the last 5-6 years, where I think Madeline Stowe was there and someone else, the Scientologist,
wow.
Dana Delaney.
Yeah.
But at the time that I saw Shortcuts, most of Altman's movies were not available on home video, at least readily. You could get Buffalo Bill and the Indians. That's a great movie. Great movie. But it was on an old Playhouse home video, which, that was put out once. They never reissued it.
Yeah.
Then movies like Quintet, which is a god-awful picture, that you had to hunt for it, starring Paul Newman. If you ever want to watch a bad movie that was shot in absolutely torturously miserable conditions, it was so bad the camera would freeze. That's how awful it is. The whole thing is set in a frozen hellhole. Yeah, and though Long Goodbye took a little while to find, I found it. So Images was never on home video at that time. So there was a screening of it in Cambridge. So I had to go to that. So I saw that and then thought, well, I'll never see that again. Thankfully now it's available. O.C. and Stiggs, another garbage film from the 80s, was issued on VHS. But let me get to the ones that weren't. Okay. This movie was issued on VHS, but I don't know if it came out in the States. It came out overseas. Apparently the transfer was bad. Three Women never saw a home video release, nor did at the time.
I think it finally did. But
no,
then.
it did. But I'm talking about for ages and ages. You could not
Yeah.
find it. I couldn't find it on bootleg anywhere. So then HBO 3, as it was at the time, was going to air it, and I would scour all the channel guides. So I got that, or stayed up. I stayed up to like 4 a.m. just to tape that, and hit record on 2 VCRs, and then went to sleep. It was only playing like once or twice. And same goes for Health. I bought Showtime. See, thumbs up from Riverside. Health is never been issued on video and was only dumped in a couple of theaters, because that was at the end of his time with Fox. They had a very bad relationship, and he had made a couple big stinkers, including A Perfect Couple, which is worth watching, is not good. But it features songs featuring a band called Taking It to the Streets, sung by Ted Neely of Jesus Christ Superstar fame. So if you ever wanted to see more of him, that's where you go. But in the mix, I saw Nashville. Anything that was available of his that I could see, I did, except for I still haven't seen Thieves Like Us, Vincent and Theo, Kansas City, and there's one or two others, streamers. But that's because some directors, I save a few of their movies. But as I get older, I'm thinking, whoa, I should probably get on top of that.
Yeah, you're like, let me watch Die Hard. It's that thing. I haven't seen like McCabe and Miss Miller, like I said, and I heard Gosford Park was really good, and I haven't seen that. And then the other one before that guy got kicked out of Saturday, I used to listen to that show, the last one that he did with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, Prairie Home Companion.
Prairie Home Companion.
That's a great film. It's a great film.
So I was like, oh, I need to see that.
And Prairie Home Companion, do you know who he was shadowed by for insurance purposes?
No.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh, cool. That's cool. That's
Altman is one of his biggest
learn all the good stuff. Yeah, and you can see it. Written by.
I have to say one other movie of distinct interest, Pret-a-Porter. It depends on your.
Oh, that's.
Fondness.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was like, "Ooh, is Sophia Loren going to get naked?" Like, I'm like, "Oh," but it's her and that guy who are really good on screen.
I'm sorry. Hard out, and we didn't even finish the synopsis.
Look at that. Yeah.
We're going to have to do a second taping on this one. I apologize, but also don't feel bad.
10, but yes, it makes sense.
No. I had a hard out at 5 of 5 because it's.
Okay.
Our son's going to be home from school, and I got to deal with then I got to deal with his card counting and all that stuff.
Yeah, and of course.
Well, the online poker, the kids these days, they get right into
Yeah.
it.
It's like, come on, like that's how you get an addict. You're like, come on, why don't you? You need to get some Barney tapes. I've told you that.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. We're trying to teach him gambling in order to sort of have him focus
That get
on
him
one
out of the
thing like
kid
that.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
forget Teletubbies. What
No,
about
I
a
want
hard
him watching
straight?
this and
What about
Rounders
a
and
royal flush?
yeah. But
Yeah.
before we cease this taping or this
Yes.
production, this part of the production, Anne Prentice, sister of Paula Prentice, who
That's
you
what I
may
was
know
thinking.
as a fabulous actress that she is, also was married to Richard Benjamin. Anne Prentice was only in one film after this, and she was the voice of a bag in my what is it? My stepmother's an alien. Yeah, I almost
Oh,
said
she was in it. Oh,
yeah, well,
wow.
just as the
Yeah.
voice of a bag though, nothing
Yeah, but
much.
still, you watch out for Kim Basinger not wearing a bra. That's why I watch it.
Well, and then the
Um,
beauty of Gwen Wells, Susan. I always had a crush
mhm.
on her. She's in Nashville. She's in a number of films. Sadly, passed away at age 42.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I wanted
Yeah.
to leave it a cheerful note. That's all.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, Nashville was great. But I think I was expecting more, but if I watched it again, I think I'd love it because it was,
Here's the problem with Nashville.
mhm.
It's been venerated to the point that you can sit down and go, "This movie's going to be incredible," and you
That's
really just
what,
have to let
yeah.
it wash over you. And because it's not really like any other movie that I've
Mhm.
seen, it's like some other Altman movies.
Yeah.
And who again, Altman's a filmmaker. Though the subject matter is different in pretty much every film, there's that old adage about filmmakers make the same movie over and over again in
Yeah.
terms of what they are saying about humankind, and
Yeah.
that is definitely shot through in that, and it's even
And
more timely now in certain aspects.
yeah, and it seemed to me, I don't know, I'd have to go back to all the Altman ones. Seems like all the threads are just nothing, which is that's how life is. None of the threads are tied up, except for, Nancy's mom from Freddy Krueger, which I was surprised to see in that
Oh,
movie.
Ronnie Blakely.
I was like, why does that girl look familiar? I'm like, oh shit, yeah,
Ronnie Blakely, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, other than that, like Keith Carradine's just an asshole sleeping with whoever. Like, Geraldine Chaplin's like, oh, I love you. Yeah, it's great.
And then, of course,
But
that's the first film appearance in Nashville, rather, of Jeff Goldblum, who appears in this film
mhm.
briefly.
Oh, that's was yeah. I'm trying to think of where he
He's
was, but
Bill
yes.
Denny's boss.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, I need to rewatch it.
And the
But
threads in Nashville the
yeah,
threads in
yeah,
Nashville do kind of, if they don't weave together, they run in parallel because it could be called
yeah,
America. The movie could be called America.
yeah. And I guess like the politicians, Ned Beatty, that Henry Gibson's kind of thing kind of ends with that. Like,
Henry Gibson's character in that is one of my favorites, and
mhm.
it's not a short. It's not a short leap. It's not a long. What's the word? It's pretty easy to see where Paul Thomas Anderson noticed Henry Gibson, who
Yeah.
gave some of his best performances in, Magnolia and Altman films. Okay, and on that note, did that
All
play?
right.
That thing
Well,
didn't.
thank you.
God damn it! The
You didn't
sound
stop.
thing
Oh,
didn't.
what was supposed to play? Henry Gibson singing a song.
No,
Um,
but we'll do that next time. I don't know what.
yeah.
What on earth? Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. There we go. Okay, yeah. I am drinking out of my. Well, it's not mine. Ada's, one of
Oh.
Ada's New England Patriots mugs that I got her for a Christmas present. She
Oh,
loves the
wow.
Patriots so much so that she has all the Super Bowl numbers tattooed on her arm.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's pretty heavy duty for you not to be into sports. But then again, when I got with the wife, people were like, I go, she doesn't like Star Wars. What do you, she doesn't, you're with her? She does, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. She cannot like Star Wars, but it's like, yeah, it's okay. Like,
Yeah, you can find other people to talk about Star Wars with.
yeah.
Amazingly, there's a
When
couple of them out there.
when
You
I
know.
took her, we went and saw Force Awakens. She was like, okay. And I think she fell asleep probably through it. Then she goes, okay, we went and saw Last Jedi. And she woke up enough to see Luke get killed. And she was like, wait, wasn't that your guy? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, okay. And then as we're leaving, she goes, so what did you think about that? I go, I'm still trying to process it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
later I was like, I like how he went kind of threw a curveball and went against everything. But then
I
you
didn't know
hear,
that.
Yeah, it was
Actually,
like,
don't spoil it because
yeah.
I'll end up. Ada also
Mhm.
loves Star Wars. Loves.
Well, that's cool.
So I
Um,
got. I'm not, but I'm not
yeah,
really.
yeah,
I can go either way.
yeah, yeah.
But I got
Look,
her
just like your
those.
sexuality.
Yes, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of what there's a joke, there's a reference that I can go either way. I can't remember what it is. Not that joke, but another one. Anyhow, I got her all of the latest fan made restorations,
Hmm.
and now they're going to be putting them out apparently. But I'm still
Yeah,
hanging on to
next
these.
year. Yeah.
It's like a full hard drive full of them because,
Oh wow. Yeah.
well, they're massive. They're 4K. And they're so good now, unlike the original fan edits, which were amazing.
Yeah.
But the technology was so primitive in comparison that you know it wasn't like it is now. People can actually scan film themselves, and the audio track availability is amazing. You can watch the film with the original Laserdisc audio, the 5.1 Laserdisc, the other Laserdisc issue, the
Yeah.
original VHS audio, I think, the mono,
Yeah.
original theatrical
Yeah.
print.
77. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the Italian mono print audio.
What was funny when they put those out on Blu-ray, DVD for the first time, whenever the gray and
Yeah.
silver, when they put those out, they were like, they did the sound, and they were like, and somebody said when he goes down into the trenches, spoiler alert, in the first movie, and they go, the sound kind of cuts down, it's lower,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
they complained to Fox, and Fox was like, no, 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 that was meant to be. It's meant to be that
Okay.
way. That's what we wanted to do. And then they go, well,
Yeah.
that's weird because when you flip over to the French track, the sound, the music kicks in. And
Yeah.
so they were like, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. Like you're just, you made a mistake. So, but
Yeah. There's missing elements or whatever. You guys didn't proof this, and you guys didn't proof this for a film that is one of the most
yeah,
well known by
yeah,
fans film. So
yeah,
you guys like pick another movie to fuck around with. Like put out an Altman movie,
yeah,
and no one people are gonna be like,
yeah.
"Wow,
People
Health
would
has
be
never
like,
been out
wow,
before. This is
yeah,
great." Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck around with Quintet. No one gives a shit if it
The
doesn't sound right.
Well, yeah, and that's that Quentin thing that we talked about, McCabe and Miss Miller, where he was like, they fucked up the beginning of it, the color, whatever.
First reel. Well, no,
Um,
so he actually got an IB Tech print of that. He was
that's
going to
right.
give it to Richard Linklater, and he'd
Yeah,
already seen it a couple times. Unfortunately, due to his love of VHS, he gave it a second chance years ago, watching the VHS, and it is the worst transfer. I've seen it on VHS. It's horrendous.
wow.
And it doesn't help the audio thing because it probably was a stereo fold down to mono, which then
Yeah,
further complicated things. And the color was all fucked up. And the color was achieved in the film by flashing the film. Him and Vilmos Zsigmond, I think that's probably not how you pronounce his name, but Vilmos Zsigmond,
it is.
yeah, they flashed
Yeah,
the film to give it a yellow tint, and which was the color was selected by Altman taking a Polaroid of his mustard colored velour
wow. Yeah,
shirt. And he's like, "Can we have it like that?" So the sound issue totally pissed him off.
yeah,
And then he bought the IB Tech print, which, of course, IB Tech, for those of you who know, I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to tell the people who don't.
yeah,
It is the type of they dyed the film, basically, right? That's how it's printed. It's dyed, so it
yeah.
never
It's like,
fades.
yeah, like pops. It's not gonna fade to pink or whatever, which is funny. On that, Scorsese always says, like, I did Raging Bull because I didn't want it to fade. I did it in black and white. And you're like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of call bullshit. I think it's because, like he said, there were a lot of boxing movies coming out at that time. And, it just happens to work that it's not going to fade when you.
Yeah, that's one of the rare bits of like, oh, that's why you filmed it. Nah, I don't think that's
Yeah.
really why. All of his other explanations
Yeah.
make
It's
sense.
because the champion or champ was out and something else. Rick Schroeder.
Yeah, imagine being torn between the Champ and Raging Bull. Did you ever see the Champ?
I did. My dad took me. We went a long time ago. Well, yeah, a long time ago. We went the other day, 1980, and yeah, it was. And I remember I was just, and I think I don't even know if my dad saw the original with Wallace Beery and Jackie Cooper. Jackie Coogan is Uncle Fester.
Oh yeah.
Jackie Cooper is the kid from the Little Rascals who played the kid in that. Anyway,
And then
the
in the
original,
Champ, they had Jacques Henry, who was
and
later
then
on
oh my
227.
god, I love Jackie. She was I so had the hots for her, and she was good comedy.
Yeah.
So Anthony Brandis, I liked him. Anthony Brandis, no, what's a kid from Sequest
Ricky Schroeder.
no, and the second anyway, I swear it was Brandis. Anyway, he killed himself in the 90s or in the early
Jonathan
2000s.
Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis, thank you. Him, I liked
The
him
bell
in
only
late.
rang when you said,
I
"Oh, he
like
killed himself." I'm like, "Oh, that guy."
that's
Yeah.
right. I liked him in Ladybugs. He was really funny. He would be the girl upstairs and the boy, or the girl downstairs, the boy. Anyway, he kept going back and forth. It was funny. But yeah, and then
All right.
I was just going on that was Anthony Brand and Jason Jim Jarmusch Brandis was that
A
he
lot of
was
people don't
funny.
know that Jim Jarmusch was originally a child actor.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. They had no
Yeah.
idea. They're like, "Who's this little knee Marvin guy?" Oh, it's
Yeah.
Jim
He was
Jarmusch.
actually the kid on Silver Spoons
Yeah,
and
yeah,
in the Champ.
exactly.
So, and you were about to get into who wrote this. I think we talked about who wrote this, but you want to do the
Yes.
rundown. You want to do the big
Yeah.
old
Well, we did. Yeah,
rundown.
we did the starring. We were at written by Joseph Walsh wrote it, and as I said, him and Elliot Gould were friends since they were 15, 16 years old, which is really good about that. It's good where Elliot Gould's good with remembering things, unlike myself. Um, I'm good when I'm not recording. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good. I can be like, oh, that guy. But also, I think I lean too far into who's that guy, expecting my co-host to always be like, oh, Jonathan Brandis. Yes, Jonathan Brandis. Jonathan. Now it sounds wrong.
No,
Anyway,
it's John. I
um,
believe it's Jonathan Brandis. But you fact checkers out there,
but
let us know.
he
I
wrote
know
it.
that listeners of this show are huge fans of that kid. So,
And as we said, they should be because Sequest. It was part two of Never Ending Story that he did. Um, it's just a shame. They did this on a side note, another tangent. They did this thing for Soleil Moon Frye did this documentary, and all of her friends have like killed themselves or died from drugs that were her friends growing
wow.
up, like in the 90s.
Yeah. So
And he
you're
was
saying she
one
was
of
a
them.
bad seed.
Yeah, I'm like, don't be friends with. I'm just saying, don't be friends with Soleil Moon Frye. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Rather attractive lady in
yeah,
her later years, by the way. That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I would like to say.
I
So
I
enjoy,
think
enjoy.
I think she had her boobs reduced. You know what I heard recently? I don't know if it's true. I haven't been able to fact check. Jamiroquai was dating Winona Ryder. Said that she always wanted sex and her boobs were just too big. He had to get rid of her.
Wow.
And it's like,
Wow.
really? Like, this is why when she's talking about Stranger Things, she's like, nobody liked me when I was a kid. And you're like, you have no idea. Like, why do you have this image? Well, gee, maybe because Johnny Depp left you and, go see therapy, go get some therapy. But
Go see therapy.
go see
Maybe
therapy,
beyond therapy.
go see a
The
movie. Yeah. Go see The
the crit.
Rapist. I went and saw
Oh.
The Rapist. No, it's Therapist. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Bert. Beyond therapy. Since we're on a side note,
Yes.
1987 Altman flick for New World
Oh.
Pictures, starring Christopher Guest.
Oh, wow. Like a
Script written by
main star?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
You know,
Script written by Christopher Durang, also known as Mr. Sigourney Weaver.
I was watching that's cool. I was watching Death Wish and you don't know it because he's wearing the cop outfit and he's wearing the hat, but Christopher Guest is the cop who's
Yes.
like, we found the gun or whatever. And yeah. And I'm like, holy shit. But
There's
yeah,
a
that's
great
cool.
story about him fucking around with Bronson because I think Bronson gave him some shit, and Christopher
Mm-hmm.
Guest doesn't really take that from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can remember where I heard that, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that's all that stuff. It's like all those friend groups of like Rob Reiner, married to Peggy Marshall, friends with Carrie Fisher, like having these parties, or even like the
Penny Marshall.
Who? What did I say? Who did I say?
The legendary Peggy Marshall.
Peggy Marshall. Wow. I meant. Are you sure? I meant Penny Marshall, but yes,
Yeah.
Peggy
Anyway,
Marshall too. Her
yeah.
sister. There was
Anyway, this movie
yes.
that was written by Jonathan Ross.
Yes. Walsh, not Jonathan Ross. How dare you?
Marshall. That's my new favorite.
Yes. Oh my god.
Eric, ring the bell.
I cannot. Yeah. I cannot believe that. Oh, anyway, you know what I meant. Like those parties.
I know what you meant. That's what made it funny. Yeah.
With Roddy McDowell would have those parties where everybody could hang out. Rodney McDowell. Rodney
Piper.
Roddy McDowell. Oh gosh, wearing the skirt and everything. Directed by Robert Altman. It was almost going to be Steven Spielberg that we might have said earlier. They worked.
I don't think we did, and actually, I was a little shocked because he's your guy.
Yeah, that's right. Worked on the script for 9 months. Also, at one point during the time, the studio wanted them to have it take place at Circus, and maybe Steve McQueen to star. Then a month
I think that would have been terrible. What's that?
Yeah. Then a month before filming was to start, the new executives at the studio who came in, they wanted it to be a mob type movie like The Sting and wanted to put Dean Martin in it because he was doing all those kind of movies in the 70s.
When I found out about that, I thought, the studio could have just made that movie and had nothing to do with this. It's a bit like The Ambassador in 52 Pickup.
Yeah.
Like, we want this one thing from your movie, and then we're going to totally bastardize the rest of it.
I recorded a show before this, but it'll come out after this, but it was for Hellgate, and Hellgate was remade by John Ford. John Ford made it first. It was called The Prison at Shark Island. And then in 36, and then in 37, they make Hellgate. Starring Peggy Marshall.
No,
and let me make sure I got that right. Anyway,
I'm sure you got Hellgate right, but Peggy Marshall.
No, but it was basically the same story, but they remade it. But they did change it where the one was about the My Name Is Mud thing. It was about Dr. Mudd helping John Wilkes Booth. That was what the John Ford movie is about, and then this one, and that guy gets arrested. And so Hellgate was a different prison, but it was the same story, just told a different way. And you could totally just be like, well, let's do this. And they did kind of do those. Dean Martin would do he did that one with Frank Sinatra where they're on like a riverboat gambling and I forget the name. It wasn't very good. But Spielberg and Walsh ended up leaving and taking it to Universal. Then Zanuck and Brown hired Spielberg to do the Sugarland Express. So Walsh went out on his own.
I can see him going, hey, listen, this movie's going to get made. They're happy with the script. I think I'm going to fuck off and do this one.
Yeah.
I like the imagining what this would have been like with Spielberg.
Yeah.
Or Cruising, which he was also originally attached to. But this Richie Altman movie, I think Richard Altman really did I think he's perfectly suited to the material, particularly because he was a degenerate gambler as well. He was even doing a lot of gambling on the set of O.C. and Stiggs, which may be one of the reasons why that movie is so god awful.
Could have. Yeah, he got too. He's not like George Segal being like, I'm done. Or you might call him John Altman. So either Richard or John or Dick Altman. Dickie Alt, is what we call him. And then later on, I have something that Spielberg said that I think it works the way it is, but also I could see Spielberg. It's like I said on my Patreon episode, everybody go sign up, $5. That he did these TV movies. This one called Something Evil wasn't very good. It was like Poltergeist kind of, but not as good. And then when he does Duel, then you're like, oh, okay. Or you watch, the first Columbo episode and you're like, okay, this is really cool. But for him to then go from that to Sugarland Express, I could see him also being like, oh, this is kind of a true story, Sugarland Express. Let me, I can let's do this, and I can film out and, and maybe he can do any be his own thing. and like this is kind of I'm sharing, and maybe but maybe also they just made him a good deal, and he was like, okay.
Well, I think my feeling is he was like, hey, they're giving this a green light. It's a go. They don't want to put Dean Martin in it. And yeah, great. Okay, cool. I want to make a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't have to spend 9 months on the script.
Yeah.
And the original title was Slide because that's what the book was called. And Walsh was a frustrated actor. And he is an actor in this film. He plays Sparky, and he's fantastic as Sparky. Only one scene, but man, is it powerful.
Oh, yeah. You want to get to listener opinions? Do you have my stuff queued up there, Mister?
I do, but I don't want to really play it. Yeah, sure.
Okay, then I'll do it.
Oh no, I got it. Listen,
I'll make
let's
sounds.
fucking. I'll write it. We'll do it live.
I can do a
fucking
John
thing
Travolta.
sucks.
All right.
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Wait, was that on
Schaefer on what?
Go ahead.
I'm
was
sorry.
That
a
I'll do that
preview
again.
of how my John Travolta would be? That's exactly how my John Travolta. Hey, what? Where? With the clickety clack of the
clickety clack. Did we explain that to people?
No,
we have this
didn't.
long in joke that it's okay. It involves a giallo starring John Travolta where he's being haunted by a killer, but then it might be possible that the click clack of the doom heels are his, and maybe he's the killer. So we'll wait. Hold on a sec.
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Now I got to pick on you a little bit. You said haunted by a killer. Now that's a whole nother story. Now he's got this ghost killer behind him. It's like, hey,
well, he doesn't know. Yeah, that's right. Well, he can't see him, so he doesn't know. That's another element of entry in the franchise.
But whenever Peggy, your name's Peggy, whenever Craig would send me an audio letter, he has these shoes, these alligator shoes. And he would and a click, click. They have little heels on them, and they make these click. And he goes, "I know it sounds like I'm in a giallo." And then we started talking about John Travolta following, being like, "What? Where?" And then you're looking around, and then he stabs you. So yeah,
I think I said I think there's a killer. There's a killer after me. I'm not sure where they are. I can hear them though. Do you hear that, Phil? And then be like, hey, yeah. Anyway, I think they get the premise, but it's sadly never going to be as funny as the original.
Exactly. Same thing as you. That's when that car started up and left, and you were like,
we can put that audio in. I mean, we can share that with the audience.
But anyway, Fred Schaefer on Twitter wrote, we did Hellgate together, wrote very much a character study of the degenerate gambler presented to us by Robert Altman is his name. I guess I was wrong. Near the top of his game. Remember that one of his regulars, Burt Ramson, was in drag in this one. End quote.
Yes.
Mr. Kieran Green, which I have something about later too. Mr. Kieran Green on Instagram wrote, quote, at Making Tarantino podcast, a real jewel in the crown of Robert Altman's filmography. It really needs to get its music rights issues sorted out and receive its well-deserved 4K treatment. And Chris Manson on the Making Tarantino podcast Facebook page wrote 4 stars. So, yeah, end quote.
Speaking of music, you know what song is playing when he goes into, is it Sparky's office? No. He goes in that really seedy den of filth. Siegel. I can't remember. Was that Lou? I don't know. Anyway, he goes into the place and maybe there's a bunch of hookers and no. Okay, here's what it was. Siegel is trying to gamble his way back to the money he needs to pay Sparky before the end sequence, and he goes to that card game, and it's a very seedy situation, and he walks through and there's a bunch of people and various states of disrepair, and the TV's playing, and what's on? Basketball Jones, the Cheech and Chong classic.
I did not catch that. Interesting. I need to see that. Is it it's the music. It's
I think there was a cartoon
or whatever. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a tune they did around the time of Earache My Eye.
Right.
And I think that there was an accompanying cartoon that then was put on the TV for that scene.
Earache My Eye is so good. And then something else. Now we're into discussing this film, unless you want to play the sponsor spot. I didn't have the 30-second one to share with you. I don't know why. I only had the minute one. But,
well, that's okay. I extended it. I looped it, so it's 25 minutes long.
Cool. We can just sit back and have our tea.
Yeah, exactly, and our biscuits. Yeah. What I think maybe might be a good one is to...
I think Robert Altman is a bit like Adar. You get into him early on, all right, because it's the technique is right there. and it seems really exciting and invigorating. And I'm not saying it isn't, it is. But then, 40 years later, it's not that exciting or not that interesting anymore, except the ones that are. I would say nowadays, that when it comes to the Altman films of the 70s, my unqualified favorite would be MASH, and my dark horse favorite, the one that I think now is better than the other ones that I used to champion, is California Split. I saw it when it came out, but it took me a long time to get back to it again. I didn't understand it when I saw it. Yeah, I mean, to me now that now in a world where Long Goodbye has existed for a long time, and I've seen it a bunch of times. Yeah. To me, all the things that I liked about it now just seem gimmicky, but that's fine because it was good when I liked it. All right, but there's nothing gimmicky about California Split.
No, there isn't. No.
The magnificent excavation of the Gardena Club card club.
Fantastic, fantastic.
It's funny on that because that's from the Bret Easton Ellis podcast, and that was also clipped out by a James Whale Bake Sale. So thank you, James Whale Bake Sale, for having those highlighted. I get a lot. He does a lot of good stuff. I think I shared you the French Connection stuff and all that stuff. But I'd like to say that at the end there, a classic Tarantinoism. He's talking about the Gardena Club card club thing, but he says it's a wonderful equivation. He often does that. He'll scramble the middle of the word. It's evocation. Ah, yes. Well, as he said there was an interview he did it was a book. It was a guy that talks about books, like your favorite 3 books. I forget the name of the podcast, but he was on there and he was saying how he was kind of special in class. Like he wasn't the smartest kid in class and would kind of get picked on or whatever. And I think that's from not graduating, then you got to pick up the stuff and either you mess up or maybe you have a little dyslexia and you mess up. But I think he's doing pretty good. It's like my grandma left school at like 3rd grade and she did pretty good. So, okay. What now? I couldn't, it couldn't, you have, this is what you said, then you can have a little dyslexia. Well, see, we all have a little bit. See, no, we all do these things, but I wanted to point this out. Yes. Tarantino, I feel, has this stuff happen because he's an autodidact. He's taught himself all of this stuff. He left high school, at age 15. Yeah. So he is brilliant, right? Yeah. And a lot of people who are brilliant were not considered the smart kid in the class. Yeah. But he picked up all this stuff himself. So, so he didn't say evocation, but when I first said that, I went, equivation. Oh, that's what he means. He's there's a couple of those that he is. You hear him here and there, but I don't have the clip here. But he goes on to talk about how him and Altman did not like each other because of meeting each other at the Cannes Film Festival, and that he irked him because they were on a panel together, and as you can imagine, Tarantino became the focus of attention, and he felt that Altman really disliked him after that. And I think we talked a little bit about that before, but also there's a thing of some directors, the best, like John Ford, it's that famous thing where Peter Bogdanovich is like, how did you make your movie? How did you make The Searchers? He goes, with a camera. Like, he doesn't want to talk about his craft. And like actors, we talked about this on Hellgate, Sterling Hayden, like didn't really care about acting. He's like, I just did it. It's a job. I just do it. And you see that with a lot of people and they're like, what's your process to act? I don't want to talk about it. I feel stupid because we're making pretend. And I think same thing with even the best, like you said, my guy, Spielberg's like, I don't know. I show up, they go, how do you know what the audience wants? How do you know what you're getting in the camera? He goes, I don't know till I get there. And then I'm like, that morning I'm figuring it out and I'm filming something, or, I'm just like, okay. And I don't know until you guys tell me that, oh, wow, that was really cool. Oh, good. It worked, so with Altman, apparently he sensed that he had gotten under his skin. And so they bumped into each other on the Croisette and he was like, oh, hey, Bob. And then he's walking with him and he told him about how he used the one song from the score of Fool for Love that wasn't used in Fool for Love, the song Fool for Love. He used it in Reservoir Dogs, and he said it pissed him off so much, and he enjoyed that. Whereas before that, he was doing what he called like sort of, the student and the master thing, telling him about how influential his stuff was. Another note about what we just heard from Tarantino is he said he's like Godard. Now, Godard dismissed Tarantino outright. He said horrible things about him. And then Tarantino's opinion of him shifted, and I completely understand that. But A Band Apart was named after however you say it in French, Bande à part, and a Godard film. So
it's like you went to French school. It's like you and Jodie Foster.
Thank you very much.
Oh, so great.
Me and Peggy Marshall did a number of courses there.
You and Peggy Marshall, and see, now I'm going to get that stuck in my head, and I'm going to be like, honey, this is Laverne and Shirley with Peggy Marshall. And she'll be like, what? And I'll be like, and Cindy Crawford. She'll be like, what? Anyway, I knew Cindy Crawford was wrong, by the way, before you're like, Cindy Crawford was she was. I think Cindy Crawford was in the conversation. Cindy Williams is in Laverne and Shirley.
Exactly right.
Right.
That's right.
But why I was thinking of that too about Quentin thing is Quentin was on a French radio show with Walter Hill, and he's kind of being like, Walter Hill, you're the guy, and Walter Hill's just kind of sitting there like not really caring, like I did my shit, like okay, but also it's that thing of if you make something, and I watched this recently, this really hit me with what was it? Dang it. Is the thing of it happened on that Hulk Hogan documentary that we talked about on the Patreon. I don't know where it was, you and I, but in the Hulk Hogan documentary, that guy says you become so big that you think that your shit don't stink, and you think that you're this big guy. And that's, I think, what happens it happened with something that I was thinking about that I was watching, is where, that's your downfall. That is, you see it happen where people are just like, no, every movie I do is gold. No, they're not. Like, come on, I don't know where I was going with that because I can't think, but
that's Elliot, okay. And that was during the era of The Player, which was Altman's big comeback after a little over a decade in the more independent world. Mm-hmm. However, he did kind of start the independent thing, not independent film, but he created Lionsgate. That was his company.
Oh, interesting.
He sold it off in the early 80s. Yeah, he sold it off in the early 80s, but Lionsgate, and of course produced all of his movies in conjunction with the various studios, most notably Fox, for about 5 films in the late 70s, with the final one of those, Health, never being properly released and never on home video. It's a good film. And the 8-track sound that we had talked about before, it was a Stevens recorder. Stevens, I can't remember the guy's first name, but Stevens was... I
think it was Peggy.
A magician. What's that?
I think it was Peggy.
Peggy Stevens.
Yeah.
Yes. Stevens did a lot of amazing things with the available technology using pre-existing Scotch 3M.
His own,
Yeah, well, sort of adapting machinery. So this was a 59-pound battery-operated 8-track recorder. So substantial.
Yeah. Goodness. Yeah.
A lot of lav mics, and I've heard actors say that a lot of times they didn't know if they were going to be in frame. I think it was someone in the wedding, or a wedding, sorry, that they all were just doing their thing. And
that's like on Nashville, there's that whole scene when Elliot Gould shows up being Elliot Gould and Julie Christie's being Julie Christie, and they show up and there's all this talking going on, and it's just recording whatever it can and getting everybody talking. Ned Beatty and, Henry Gibson and everybody. Or even that whole car wreck where everybody's talking and you hear everybody. Elliot Gould was almost in Straw Dogs.
Really? Wow.
He met with Sam Peckinpah. It was in that article thing. And he went to France, or went to England from France where he was filming something, went to England, and he was like, I want you for Straw Dogs. And he was like, and at the time though, Elliot Gould was like, felt like he was being put in a box or something, and was like, no, I want to do my own thing. I'm not going to be in this box. I'm going to go do my own thing, and went off and did his own stuff. And
didn't work out
so
terribly
another
well for
another alternate reality. Like, what if Elliot Gould was in Straw Dogs instead of Dustin Hoffman?
I think when he was in France, because he was in, was it a Godard film or a Truffaut film.
The other guy that I couldn't think of earlier, Bergman. When we were talking
Okay,
last
that's
time.
right. And then when he
Bergman
went back
film.
to do his own thing, he was to direct a film, and the film shot for about 9 days and shut down.
Wow.
It was called Glimpse of Tiger, which I believe was then, through a whole series of bizarre events, transformed somehow into What's Up, Doc.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But Glimpse of Tiger
that's
shut
weird.
down, and there was a lot of rumors and suspicion of drug use on his part, which he flatly denied. There's a terrific article out there somewhere. I wish I could cite the author. But if you just search Glimpse of Tiger, you'll find some information on that.
Wow. Yeah, that's the other thing that sucks. Like, Kevin Costner makes the first part of Horizon, films the second part, needs money for the third and fourth part and can't get it. And now you're like, well, fuck, like how sucky is that for an artist to be like, all I need, I'm Kevin Costner, just give me the money and I'll get it back to you. Like, and all these people are going to get too old now. And now you can't do 3 and 4. Now it's been a couple years.
So that's the current situation. I didn't know that. And I know that you and Eric raved about the films.
Yeah, I liked the first one. And then Gala and Quentin and them saw the second one at whatever, Cannes or some film festival. And they said it was good. And
yeah,
but then, they can never do 3 and 4. It's like,
that's a shame.
Sucks. I mean, unless they can pull something out of their hat soon, then that would be good.
Yeah.
I have some other things. I don't know how you want to talk about this movie, but I have some other things from the.
I want to talk about it kind of like this, though. Yeah, it's about gambling.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how I want to talk about
gambling. Yeah, that's pretty good. I wish I had some kind of accent. All I have is my
I gotta
Arizona
get to my bookie.
accent, where people are like, I remember my friend, we were like, you have an accent. He's from Jersey. His name was Billy Skank. And we were like, you have an accent. And he was like, I do? You have an accent. I'm like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
We're from Arizona. What do you mean? He's like, yeah, there's an accent there. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess you're right. There was going to be
before we, sorry, I would like to just get into Elliot Gould's career, because at the time, around this time rather, he was a huge star, one of the biggest. And when you were talking about people who thinks their shit don't stink, I'm not sure what he thought about his shit. He's never gone on record about that. But he did MASH, and then something called Getting Straight, which was a very of its time kind of flick. Something called Move that I've seen the poster of, never saw. Something called I Love My Wife, I think similarly kind of a dated kind of thing.
Yeah.
Little Murders, which is an adaptation of a play, and that co-stars Donald Sutherland. And then The Touch is the movie he did with Bergman. But then he came back and did Long Goodbye, which I love. And I've seen it a couple times, I think, at New Beverly, but I love that movie. And then he followed that up with Busting, which was covered on Video Archives.
Yeah.
Something called Who, that I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what
Who?
that is.
No, it's called what? What? No.
Oh, wait, it's also known as The Man in the Steel Mask. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So then he's in another movie with Sutherland called Spies. Have you ever seen Spies?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Is it a comedy? It seems like almost like The In-Laws. To me, when you say that, I'm thinking In-Laws with those two.
Well, one would think it's a comedy or hope that it's a comedy. I'll tell you what it is. It's not very good at all.
Yeah.
Did not like it.
Wow.
Did not have much going for it. And the studio decided to stylize the title as if it was MASH. S asterisk P S.
Wow.
Yeah, just not a good idea. No.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
Then he was in a whole bunch of other movies after that, including Nashville and that cameo appearance. But there's a few other selected moments from his filmography that I think are worth a mention.
Please tell me you're going to talk about Friends. The Friends.
Well, of course, that's right.
Yeah,
the greatest achievement of his career.
Yes.
He was in, of course, Capricorn 1, which you talked about before, and then Matilda, which is about a boxing kangaroo.
Interesting. Not the Matilda that all the 90s kids know that they love. Not that Matilda.
Not that one.
Another Matilda.
But then he was in the classic Canadian picture, The Silent Partner, Curtis Hanson's Canadian flick.
Great.
John Candy has a small role. Great movie. A couple other movies, cameo in the Muppet movie. Mm-hmm. He's in some really bizarre films later on. I think he plays like a zombie. I can't remember the name of that one. He's in American History X. He's fantastic in that. I mean, he's always great.
Who is he in there? I forget.
He is the dad, or is he the stepdad? I cannot
Oh, he might be.
remember.
Yeah. Like Edward Norton and them stepdad. That'd be crazy.
I think, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
And anyway, I wish I could remember the other stuff. Some of these are not included in the official thing, but I want to talk briefly about Dangerous Love, which is from 1986, 87.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a co-starring Anthony Geary, the late great Anthony Geary, who is well known for General Hospital for playing Luke, but also, rather, more importantly,
I didn't know he passed away. Rest in peace.
he did. Of course, more importantly, he was in Disorderlies, fabulous film. And
I need to see that again. I wanted to see it when it came out. I never got to see it, and then I saw it later, but I need to really see it. Like I think I
you need to
just
sit down
watched
and
it.
focus and study it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll
Fat
join me for a
Boys.
movie club on that after we do the Cop
There
and a
we
Half
go. Of course.
movie club. But Dangerous Love is about a computer dating service, but there's murders happening. So there's computer dating, but there's murders. And Angeline has a brief cameo. So there you go.
Oh, wow. I still need to see that show, that Hulu show about her. Like,
yeah.
There's a whole series about her.
I almost got her on the podcast, but she charges money.
Well,
and
that's what I heard about Diane Franklin. They were like, Antonio Palacios was like, you got to pay like $50. I'm like, no problem. I'll pay for Diane Franklin. And then he was like, Barbara Crampton charges $100. So I was like, oh, But coming in June, I'm going to be having Daniel Roebuck on.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So it's going to be cool.
Good stuff.
Talk about his collection of Munsters memorabilia and talk about character acting. Because I think
it's the same fella who. Yeah,
did
go
I tell
ahead.
you
Sorry.
I forget.
Yeah.
But I was talking to my cousin. I'm like, oh yeah, Daniel Roebuck. Like I wrote him, and maybe he'll be on. And he's like, who? And I'm explaining to him like Nash Bridges and blah 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 and dudes. And he's like, eh. And then finally he looks it up and he goes, oh, that guy. And I go, yeah, he could do an autobiography called That Guy. And you would be like, oh, yeah, the guy from The Fugitive and the guy from U.S. Marshals. Yeah. So, but he embraces it. He's a character actor as opposed to somebody who is like, like we kind of said, where if you don't go into it being like, oh, I'm Ward Bond, I'm going to be the next John Wayne. No, you're going to be the second banana in everything, or an Elisha Cook where you're like, no, you're good where you're at. Like stay in your lane. That's perfect for you. You don't need to run
one of his most significant roles, I think his breakout role, he's fantastic in River's Edge.
Yes. I need to see that again. I saw it back when it first came out. And or maybe it was a re-release after Bill and Ted's was big and Permanent Vacation, and then I went and saw River's Edge. And
Permanent Vacation.
Yeah,
another cheerful flick.
But of course, always. But something. If you're ready for me to speak.
Oh yeah, now. Fire away.
There was going to be a scene where George Segal was driving and running all these red lights. And he's just going through this crisis and he's just running red lights like crazy. And they were like, oh, that would be good. And Altman was like, no, I don't really think so. And it showed how he's tempting fate and whatnot. But Altman said, no, I don't think I will do that. And then a producer called and said, you have to do that. Like I read that scene, like it's going to be great. And he's like, look, we're going to have to stop all the traffic. We're going to have to do it. And the writer was like, so we did it. We filmed it. And he goes, nobody saw the dailies, I think. He goes, me and Altman saw the dailies. And he goes, you could tell that Altman didn't want it in the movies because he filmed it like shittily. Like it wasn't even filmed very good. And so he was like, Joseph Walsh.
I told you it was a bad scene.
Said they noticed, that not directed well and flat. And Joseph Walsh said that is when he learned you should never force Robert Altman to do anything.
It never goes well. It does not go well. No. Didn't go well.
And then just to jump ahead, because I wanted to read my notes, that the Spielberg said later to the writer, to Joseph Walsh, after he saw the movie, he goes about the ending. He said, when they go on that streak, that's one gigantic orgasm. I could have made that 32 minutes of orgasm. You'd be on the edge of your seat by the time the two guys are at the finish with this. And I'm like, okay, first of all, calm down, Spielberg. Like you're supposed to be like, humble. And, but also it felt like 32 minutes. It felt like I'm
I think
sitting
it
there
is
on
30.
the.
I mean,
I felt I
it
was on
is.
the edge of my, and maybe that's what he meant. Like he would have made it 32-minute orgasm as opposed to 30. But what I liked was I thought it was going to be a 70s movie of depression, where they would lose and it would be sad and you'd be like, I was really rooting for these guys and oh, they lost or somebody got killed or somebody did something or something.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't end that way. And it ends in a happy way, but also in that way where you said they split and they're like, we're never going to see you again. But, but also
it's very real. It's very realistic. And again, it's very much, it says a lot about male friendship and how oftentimes there's a bad influence. And I mean, not to castigate Charlie, but, clearly, George Denny is just as into the escape of everything, and this whole like getting lost in the dopamine rush of not just the gambling, but we'll get some limos, we'll get girls. Like, at certain points they have so much money, especially in 1973 dollars, that they could get themselves a little bit straightened out. But it's not about that; it's about the high. But at the end that Siegel's character is done. And this performance is probably my favorite George Siegel performance, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Although out of like I never saw the Hot Rock, and I've seen, but I don't remember his performance in it because you're more watching it for Elizabeth Taylor and them. But Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Like he was good in that.
Oh, he's incredible.
Really
he's so good in that. He's so good in that.
But as you said, the writer played Sparky. And Sparky was based on a real life guy who lived in Liberace's house that he had bought from Liberace, and was a bookie. And toward the end, he would call Walsh and was high on coke and asking for thousands of dollars to play at the racetrack. Later, he ended up killing himself on the 405. Like they said, it was suicide or something, where he just like slammed into an embankment or something.
Yeah, a lot of strange stuff happened at Liberace's house,
and exactly. Yeah, never. There you go. Never own a Liberace's house, and never be friends with Suleiman Fry.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, some other folks met with some not so great circumstances after living at Liberace's house, namely Scott Buber Thorson, who passed away fairly recently. But check out Behind the Candelabra.
Was that was a boyfriend? Yeah.
Yeah. Who left Liberace's clutches and then went right into the world of Eddie Nash. And that's the guy who orchestrated the Wonderland murders.
Wow.
So he actually witnessed him ordering the hit.
There's a good weird combo there. You go see Behind the Candelabra, and then go watch Wonderland with Val Kilmer. Wonderland,
hell of a double feature. Yep. Uplifting.
But and then go watch Exhausted, the John Holmes. Maybe watch that in between, so you know who John Holmes.
Yeah, it's like a sorbet.
Yeah, exactly. And about the punch in the restroom, this was also in that article that Elliot takes. That's such a good scene. Based on Charlie.
So just for those who wanted to listen to this without watching the film,
yes,
they, as we mentioned, are mistaken for a couple or a pair of pals who were working the room in Gardena.
Well, this was after. This was in the restroom when they got.
No, I know that. I'm aware of that. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So then. Wait, listen. So that guy punches George Siegel. Siegel falls over, and then later on, they're jumped by that guy and his friends, and all their money's stolen. And then ages later, who does he spot at the track? Who does Elliot Gould spot at the track? But Lou, the scumbag. So he follows him into the bathroom, kicks the shit out of him, knocks the shit out of him. In the process, gets a nasty broken nose and 2 black eyes, and he rips off all the money on Lou. Fair play. But one of the most disgusting moments in the movie, or any movie I've ever seen, I think, it's a filthy, gross bathroom.
Yeah.
Now, before this disgusting moment, there's an incredible stall moment where he's punching him and he pushes him into the stall, and there's a dude taking a shit on the toilet, and he guys like, obviously, get the fuck out of here, and he does, but not before he lands like 3 punches in Lou's face. But then they roll out of there, and then they're on the floor, and he's got a bloody nose. Elliot Gould has a bloody nose. And then as that guy's on the floor begging for him to stop, he goes, "Hey, check this out. You know, a little bit of toilet paper helps the bloody
Stop the
nose stop."
blood. Yeah.
But it's just toilet paper he's picked up off the floor of a racetrack bathroom.
Gross. Yeah.
So bad.
But the guy that the writer framed this after was his brother, right? His brother's name is Charlie. And
yes, I think.
So he said, this is based on Charlie, and Jimmy Kahn was there for this fight in the restroom. So that was actually authenticated. Jimmy Kahn told me, this is what he said, that the story told me that story a long time ago. He says, I'm with your brother in a bar and we get into a fight and your brother gets hit with a punch that's unbelievable from this guy, a sneak punch. He says, the most horrible thing I've ever seen. Charlie's nose is totally broken, blood gushing, and all he's saying on the way down is, that was the greatest punch I've ever been hit with. Jesus, what a punch. Perfect. Oh my God. And the guy is saying, get out of here. And Charlie's saying, no. I said, it's the perfect punch, but you're not going anywhere. I'll be up on my feet in a second. And so I knew that's the scene I wanted to play. The same Charlie Walsh, who, when he made a big score at the track, gets held up and he gives him half the money. So that was a true story too, of when they won all that money and he's like, take half. And the guy's like, no, he goes, dude, look, there's, 1,300, 1,200 here. Like, come on. The guy's like, all right. And he said he did that exact scene that's in the movie. And some guy at the racetrack held him up and he said, no, fuck this. Take half the money now. Get out of here, you fucking bum. And that's exactly my brother, because he would never be able to handle that. I'm not going to give it to you. Get out of here. Shoot me now. Go ahead. Take the $700. Yeah, $700. So yeah, I used everything I could think of to put into the characters. So I had the sense memory, and those kind of things always stick with me. And so it worked great. Both those scenes. By the way, to Elliot, you told me that Altman wanted to cancel that fight scene in the bathroom with Ed. And so he was like, yeah, he said he did, but they did it, and that's that thing when he does he's like, that was a hell of a punch. Like, oh my God,
Yeah, no, it's so great because it's so confusing. He's like, oh, wow, you really got me. It's just further making that guy crazy.
Yeah.
Which is, also he approaches him like he's trying to pick him up for some sex or something. It's great. It's great. And it enrages him. And again, filthy floor. The bit you were talking about too, they're held up outside the bar by a gunman. And I can't remember the actor's name, but he features in a lot of Altman films as well, as does John Considine, who is the guy at the bar almost going to try to pick up that girl who's like, what the fuck am I doing here? This place is a shithole for losers. And in that scene, that woman, to me, is vocalizing what Charlie is thinking. He's like, what the fuck am I doing here? What the fuck am I doing? It's daylight. I'm drinking. It's so early. This other joint that's probably a shithole isn't open for this girl. And the guy in between, it's a little great bit of comedy. He's about to be a smoothie and come up and and pick her up because he lights her cigarette and stuff. But he keeps approaching and then is repelled. And then repelled. And then she's like, all these men here are faggots and losers. And that's when he's like, I can't even. Like, I'm not that horny. And then on the way out, to Charlie, George Siegel, who hasn't even looked at her, she goes, fuck you, faggot.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Yeah.
There's so much comedy in the movie, too. So it's this incredible mix of heavy, heavy moments, really sad moments, and then exciting, and then comedic.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that, too, of Elliot Gould's comedic. Like, he's good doing comedy. George Siegel is, too, but them just working as a pair is like really good, like as good as you would say, like MASH, like them in MASH and everything. Like some characters you see in a movie that, well, there's some that you're fooled by, that you and I said about Towing, where I was like, Jennifer Ashley was like, Sue Lyon was a bitch. But the same thing with An Officer and a Gentleman. You're like, no, these people love each other. No, she hated him. Yeah. And you're like, oh. But yeah.
Oh, and incidentally, the other bit of that hold-up scene, they've just won $15,000.
Yeah.
Which in $1973, how much is that? Because the figure later on in the end sequence. Sorry, spoiler, folks. 82,000, I think.
Yeah.
And that is roughly $620,000 today.
Yeah. Yeah. And Siegel doesn't take any of it. He's just like, there you go. But that's the other scene.
No. He takes half the money.
Okay. I thought he either took a stack or didn't take all of it. But yeah,
No. They split it. Elliot Gould counts it up. Elliot gets all the money, and he counts it up, and they split it even, Steven. And then he goes, "That's it." Like, it. Whatever he says.
Yeah, I felt nothing. I like when he's like, I'm leaving. Yeah.
One of the best lines as when the characters either realize or state what we know and they know, it goes. Elliot says, "It doesn't mean a fucking thing, does it?" And you can take that however you want. Their friendship, this whole thing, but Gould then brings this moment. He brings this emotion that I'm having right now because my headphones keep popping out, but. Behind the clown character, who's like never stops talking, never stops talking, but somehow is charming enough that it doesn't totally put you off. It doesn't put you off at all, actually, even though that he makes you squirm many times in the movie.
Yeah.
Particularly in the Burt Remsen scene at first, and you're like, no, he's being okay to him. Anyhow, he finally drops that act, and you can see the pain in him. You can see the knowledge that he has, which is kind of suggested by his rundown of all the folks in that poker room. Like, he knows what's going on with everybody. Yeah. But he's fucked up. Like, he is a messed up guy.
And him saying it doesn't mean anything, knowing that nobody is like, he hasn't met anybody like him, or he has in a way of those guys, but they don't become, him and Alabama Slim don't become friends. But he knows that I have a problem because it means something to me. I don't know what, but I have to keep going. And, and George is like, no, I'm out. Like,
and I think Gould's character really likes Bill, but nothing's going to get in the way of his addiction. So again, this is, it doesn't hit you over the head, but that's the deal when someone has to get away from a situation like that. If the other person isn't going to, and they're probably not. Like, one gets the sense that Elliot Gould is about to take that money and go do a bunch of dumb stuff. Yeah. And end up in the same position, because some people are even addicted to the miserable conditions that they find themselves in. It's not so much about winning. Winning's almost sometimes an irritating interruption in the losing streak.
And it's kind of the same, you could say, with there's a barfly who could stay there and be like, I love this place and I'm going to meet new guys and they're going to buy me drinks. There's the other girl who's like, what the fuck am I doing here? There's a bunch of losers. And maybe that's her coming to a realization, like, maybe I don't need to come here every morning and hang out, But
or is she gonna just be back at it? And what about the Mr. Smooth? Mr. Smooth trying to hit?
He'll be back. Yeah.
I think overall the movie speaks to this thing about how we can and often do keep repeating these patterns or choices that aren't good for us, that we kind of know aren't. I mean, Gwen Wells' character is constantly in constant emotional turmoil. Yeah. Because this job of being a prostitute doesn't really suit her emotional needs, whereas Barbara is au fait with it, and it doesn't bother her. As long as she has her TV guide, she's all right.
And that's that same thing where when George Siegel is there and he's getting ready to be with her, and then he realizes, like, what she loves him, but I think he may think that she's just another John to her. But I think also he realized, this woman's, broken, and I need to, and it's a great scene when he's just like kind of puts his clothes back on and like leaves
and slips out.
Just like, what's going on? And
he's he's an ostensibly nice guy, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of that is supposition on our part because of his affect and everything. But he's not that friendly at the office. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a pain in the ass at the office, and really, it is a rude thing to walk out on a girl like that.
Yeah.
And they'd had like this nice moment before, and she really likes him. And then she's like, he didn't really like me. And that you can know immediately this is what is going through this girl's head constantly. She has basically what would probably be termed now, if not borderline personality disorder, relationship-related OCD.
Well,
because every single one it destroys her and she can't stop thinking about them.
Yeah, you could see her in a way of like, okay, I'll do this. Let's go to Hawaii and have fun. But also like then she'll meet somebody who she really wants to be with, and he's like, no, like we're just a thing,
And
or
personally,
not ready for it.
I don't even, I think it's that it's like he's under the spell of this. She is beautiful. She is charming. She's a lovely presence. But when Barbara charges in, it's like a reminder, like, wait a second, this is a house that contains, it's not even that they're prostitutes.
Yeah, no
it's
boundaries,
no boundaries. They're in Barbara's bed. She doesn't care. What does anyone care about? Now, if you keep staying in these surroundings, you might not care about anything either. What about, because that is true. If you get into like a scene or like a bunch of people, if you're hanging around with folks that are exacerbating through maybe no fault of their own or intent of their own, your worst tendencies.
Yeah.
If you don't pull yourself out, you're going the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also, I was thinking there could be, I know it was made for maybe comedic effect for him to pick that up off the bathroom floor and put that, but that's also how he is. He'll grab a bowl out of the sink to make his cereal. Like he don't care. He'll just do whatever, because that's his life that he lives. He'll go through and pick, he's the guy at the phone booths looking for change to go gamble some more money to maybe win big. And, and he's found his tribe where a lot of, like I told you, hanging out at the bar, you might have a good time, but you start looking and you go, wait a minute. Like me and the wife and her friend will be like, it's like 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and there's like 10 people here sitting around the bar, and like 8 of them are drinking and 2 of them are having coffee. And you're like, wow.
And I bet one of them,
or one guy who drank and then was like, I got to get to church, and went to church. Like, we're like, oh my God, like wanted to down a beer before church. Okay.
I used to work at a place next to a liquor store, and the place I was at, this is so long ago. What time? It doesn't matter what time they opened.
Right.
But the liquor store opened after. Let's say the place I was at 9 a.m. they opened, and then the liquor store was 10.
Yeah.
So there'd be a line.
Wow. Yeah.
There'd be a line at 9. Yeah. And what one of the things that's really strange about that sort of thing is people don't stock up, or if they do, maybe they drink it all, or maybe they know if I buy the handle, it'll be gone. So there's this thing about controlling it by only buying a pint,
12 or 24 ounce can. Yeah. It's crazy. And that's what's good about just this is like an addiction. It's also kind of Walsh's way of writing this. And maybe he didn't seem like he likes to gamble, but he didn't seem like he's as addicted as somebody who, like Alabama Slim, who pulls out $8,000 and says, you want to gamble in the Keno? What's the next number? And he's like, okay. But another scene that I love the scene I think we talked about already, but the scene when he meets the bookie at the restaurant and he's talking to him like
Spark.
Spark. That is such a good scene of them talking. Like, it's just where he's like, but I gave you money before. Like, okay, I'll give you money. Just, I need a little bit more, like all this stuff. And
like, I let you ride. I carried your ass for a year and I did all this. And now it comes down to, he said, the fact that you would tell me the other day that you guaranteed in 7 days, and now you're having a meeting with me and you're telling me a story. And he said, well, and then at the end, Sequel goes, well, I have 700 for you. And he goes, why didn't you start by saying that?
Yeah.
Because that's it right there.
Yeah.
And that's it. That guy is like, he says it's basically a slap in the face. Like, you're treating me like an idiot. And this is what happens when people have addictions. They end up sort of using
and then it's the same thing with Mean Streets. Like Robert De Niro, Harvey Keitel's like, you owe him fucking money. You need to pay him his money. And he's like, he's the fucking idiot that gave me the money. Like, why would he give me the money? Well, you burned everybody. Well, yeah, he's the idiot for giving me more money. Like, come on. And then when he goes, how much do you have? And he finally tells Keitel, like, but he's buying the girls drinks and everything. Like, you got money, like, give that to them. Like, those are those things that, I remember my aunt was like, she taught me a lesson of like, I was like, I borrowed some money from her. I'm like, I'll pay you back later. And then next thing I know, I'm like, look at my new Blu-rays that I got. And she's like, and she told Chip, she was like, it was his mom. She goes, my whole thing is like, you pay what you do first, then you go buy your stuff. Like, but you owed me this. And it's like, yes, very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good movie. I want to talk about this girl because I love the bartender at the end. I learned
I have
something.
to. I
from
have
this.
to just
Go ahead.
I want to carry on one thing from the bit
Okay,
we were
yes,
talking
please
about.
do.
And I just forgot what it is. No, we were
Oh,
talking about
shit.
Spark and the money
Peggy.
borrowing. Okay, I know what it is. To me, that's the moment right there. Now, Siegel's been having this nagging feeling of like, this is getting out of control. Basically, he's going to lose his job. You know that that's right on the horizon. You can tell. And of course, back then, no one had the language that we have now or understanding about gambling addiction. You're just a degenerate. And it seems it's working up to that. He's thinking about it at the bar and in his quiet moments. But then with Sparky, he realizes, like, right then, like, that's it. He's got to go do what he ends up doing.
Yeah.
And settling all the scores and just removing himself from the whole world.
Yeah, we got to go to Reno because we can't be playing these little things. Let's go to Reno. And, and that's that thing where it's done so well where you think like, oh shit, they're going to lose money, especially when the big ones start coming in. And you're like, oh shit, like here comes Alabama Slim, who's got money, the doctor, like all of these guys. And that it's not like, and I don't know how it was in the 70s, but you watch poker now and everybody's wearing the dark glasses or, Jennifer Tilly's wearing some low cut thing to distract them, whatever. Maybe that'd just be me. I'd be like, oh, I lost to Jennifer Tilly. But because she doesn't wear like sunglasses, or she probably has her own way of going. But she's got that Simpsons money, so she's doing good. But she married the whatever
Sam Simon.
Sam Simon.
Yeah.
But then he died, but left her. Like they were still good friends. Anyway, but it's that thing of nobody's wearing sunglasses, nobody's being assholes to each other. They're all being nice. Oh, hey, that was pretty good. Okay, I'll get you next time. And they just play, and it's it's great. And then all of a sudden, you're like, there's that's at the end. But when he's building up to go there, like it's all the crap stuff where you're like, stop, dude, stop. And he keeps playing, and Elliot Gould's happy, and they just keep going.
Oh no, it's actually the reverse order. They go to the poker first. No, it's okay.
That's right. Yes.
And he tells he's got to go, and he won't even give Charlie any money because he knows exactly what has to happen. It's sort of that superstitious, but it actually works out kind of thing where he's in the zone. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He's not having anything to drink, maybe a Coca-Cola, but he's having ice water. Yeah. And that moment where they're all being friendly to each other, it really sort of blossoms when, he's very po-faced, he's not talking, and then one of them says something like, whoa, it's something, and he goes, it's nothing personal, I'm here for some business, and he says, oh, good, business is good, and he says something like, doing business with people who like to do business is a nice thing. Then it's all a congenial thing, and then there's little moments of dialogue that pop out. We learn about Alabama Slim coming up. He clearly is a professional at this and makes tons of money and is very wealthy, as you can tell by his clothing and his whole demeanor. But the doctor, who seems like an equivalent to Alabama Slim, might be doing that now, might be at that level now, tells a heartbreaking story about losing everything, all of his family's money. And he goes, and that was back in the 30s, and it was $3,200 something, or 32 grand or something like that. And it's horrifying. And then you realize he's still gambling.
Yeah.
And then when Siegel comes out of that room, we're in such suspense because we don't know. I think, unless he has the money in his hand, I can't remember. There's one scene he leaves somewhere, and that might be the one he has the money in his hand. He tells Elliot Gould, we got 11 grand. He goes, oh, and then suddenly the roles change. Mm-hmm. Gould is like, whoa, wait, he's conservative now. He's like, let's just cut and run. Let's take this and go.
Yeah.
I think that's partly because he does care about Bill. He cares about Bill, and he doesn't want Bill to lose everything.
And I think you're right when you say that, if you dove into it, that he is saying, like, it doesn't mean anything, meaning gambling, but also on the flip coin, meaning our friendship. Like, you're just going to leave and I'll be stuck here in Reno. We're not going to drive back together on the bus. Like, you're going to just go,
Yeah.
So,
and also the anger in him, which is justified, but it's also anger at himself. He's like, I got to go home. Oh, yeah? Where do you live? Because it's like talking about a rootlessness, talking about an emptiness. Like, there's no one there. There's nothing there.
You're not tethered to anything. Yeah. It's such a good movie of like the edges of society, like that. This could be almost maybe like the movie Barfly. I love this. Could almost be played. You could watch both of those together. Barfly's so good. Mickey Rourke is so good in that. But
same set painter as To Live and Die in L.A., Amanda Flick. She did a number of films for the Kamen Group. I'm going to leave that in.
Group. That's nice.
Yeah, Peggy Kamen.
Peggy Kamen. While on location in Reno, Nevada, this is what I learned. I was surprised at this. Actress Barbara Ruick, who played a friendly Reno poker room bartender, she was the best. She died at the age of 41 of a cerebral hemorrhage. Jesus Christ, sleeping in her hotel room.
I was going to let it go.
I know,
but you mentioned
died.
it. I know,
she
but hemorrhage is. I know, but hemorrhage is funny. I'm not talking about her death. I'm not like, isn't that hilarious? She died that way.
Put hemorrhage on that envelope. Postage hemorrhage. Anyway, she played the bartender in the Reno poker room there, and she died at the age of 41 of a cerebral hemorrhage. Sleeping in her hotel room.
She died at age 41 of dyslexica.
Of a hemorrhage. Exactly. But here's what I learned. Her husband, famed film composer John Williams, was left a widower with their 3 children. California Split was dedicated to her. So at the end of the movie, it says for Barbara, and that's for her. So
that's amazing because of now knowing that with all the lady characters named Barbara, and there's a link between
the dealer. I was trying to think of his name. The dealer's name was Barbara when it showed her name tag.
Also, I think the bartender at the other place says, "What's your name?" And says Barbara. George Siegel goes, "Everyone's named Barbara," and there's a link between Williams and Altman that pre-exists this as well. Williams did the score for Images.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right. They and then later they pulled this movie early. It was doing good. It was doing good in the theaters.
It was doing really, really well.
And then all of a sudden they pulled it and to release The Last Detail because it was
I think it was
one of
a
those,
re-release,
like,
wasn't it?
That's what I'm thinking. I think they said it came out the year before and then they re-released it and just pulled their movie because it was like a tax shelter thing or whatever it was back then. Theaters could.
It was like the producers. They wanted to lose money on it. They thought they would. So actually, and I think they noted this in Kim Morgan's article. It was basically gambling that scuppered the success of a gambling film.
Yeah, exactly. Did you read this part? This is interesting, but now rest in peace, George Siegel. In 2021, Walsh completed the screenplay for a sequel entitled Lunch with Bill and Charlie, with a concept inspired by the 1981 film My Dinner with Andre. The film would have reunited Siegel and Gould as their characters from the original film, but upon Siegel's death, Walsh instead posted the screenplay online and released a tribute video to Siegel with Gould. So,
wow, that would have been a great movie, actually. That really would have been great.
Yeah.
Like
I was talking about what they've been going through separately, like since then. Yeah, it'd be neat.
I was also thinking again about that incredible moment of realization and acknowledgement with Gould, and there's the anger there too, because people who are not left behind but feel like maybe they were left behind because someone's saying, like, essentially what they're doing is saying, this is a lifestyle that is below where I feel I need to get to. And it happens to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. But I remember a guy that I had to get away from. He was just a total drunk, and he was very angry. It was funny because I found an email a week after he had sent it that was like just a total fuck you, because I was basically like, hey, listen, like, old times are old times. Like, trying to find things to like, neg, stuff. And it was kind of funny in a way because it was just like meant to be like, I'm going to make you feel terrible thing. And I didn't see it for days. I never replied. Never replied to one of those letters, by the way.
Exactly.
It's just a tip.
Yeah. It's, some of those, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's funny with me just talking about friendship with the wife. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do a podcast with my friend. And she's like, and I was talking about Caesar, and she's like, a guy you've never met? You mean on Zoom that you're going to talk to on a screen? I go, yeah, but we talk to each other and we know each other. And she's like, okay. And that's where she's like, okay, you're going to go with Eric to Pittsburgh. Like, okay. And I'm like, yeah. Like, and Craig's my friend, okay. So.
Well, that's true. We've met in person too, so you can't argue that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's weird though with, getting older, where you have these friends that you think are your friends forever. And then me doing this podcast, all of a sudden Eric is like, hey, I heard about your podcast. And then you were like, he was like, I met Craig at this thing. And then I'm like, oh, and then I met you and, all that stuff. And, and then Jaylon from fucking Egypt, like, holy shit. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it is weird. Not weird, but what you mentioned is an interesting thing, especially when very interesting. Well, I threw that in for you. I had a bit of a hemorrhage, and I wanted to give you a bit of. That's what I'm using for homage.
Maybe
now.
That's my problem. Maybe I can't say hemorrhage because I'm having a hemorrhage, and that's why I can't think of anything. That's why I'm like that guy from that thing, and you're like
that interesting Mueller. Thing called I'm paying homage to you.
Yeah.
So the. Friend groups and friendships and stuff, they shift and change, and sometimes, a lot of times in life, friends become acquaintances, and then they, you drift away for whatever reason, not necessarily reasons as severe or as dramatic as the ones depicted in the film.
Yeah,
but it's just that's a part of life. So I think seeing this movie when I did originally, I got that, I got what was going on, but also seeing it now, it makes you think of certain things in one's life. And I think that speaks to the brilliance of most of Altman's films. I wouldn't say all of them. There's a few real stinkers, but films like this or Shortcuts or Nashville, but I think especially Shortcuts, you can you see different things that you either relate to, not necessarily because they happened like that to you, but there's certain emotional content.
Yeah.
There are certain bits of some emotional content that hit you because of something that has some kind of flavor that is similar to something that happened to you.
Yeah, and that there always seems like different characters, like I said, like we said when we were recording earlier, with Nashville, like Keith Carradine kind of sleeping with the girl that he's in the band with, but then also sleeping with the reporter. The reporter knows, like, she's fine with, like, the reporter's fine with, like, it was a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Like, I'm going to leave now.
Yeah.
And he's kind of attached to her. And all those different people and different characters. Henry Gibson kind of being rude about recording, like he's kind of upset, like all of that stuff. And that's what I think Altman does, is like, you always have these characters who you're like, oh yeah, I can see myself in that, or I understand, I've known that person, I knew this person, whatever. It's like we said before, like my dad being like, these are my best friends at the bar. Okay, what are their last names? I don't know, but I hang out and we talk. Okay.
Yeah. Or you can think of like some kind of like a crazy friendship or association you have with someone. I mean, the thing in Shortcuts is a number of different personality things.
There's like different spider webs there, right? Like these two people know each other, but those two, like, I haven't seen that for a while. I should see it again.
It really holds up tremendously. But one good example, really great example to me anyway of that, would be the Jack Lemmon character and how his son Bruce Davison and him have no relationship. And Lemon's trying to come back and be there now when his grandson is in the hospital, and it's too late. Yeah. It's too late sometimes. And that's something that is chilling, but very true. And Lemon can't even talk to him properly.
Yeah.
He's doing skits and bits, and it's painful. It's so painful because he's trying to do that egg trick.
Yeah.
And it's not entertaining. Nothing about it's good.
Yeah.
And he's missed the whole kid's whole life. And also with that whole storyline, Lyle Lovett is the baker. He is cheesed off, really pissed off because of what he perceives to be a deliberate slight. But then when he finds out what caused all of that, he's immediately trying to be with them and help them. So I tried to not spoil any of that for anyone who hasn't seen Shortcuts.
And I haven't seen it for a while. Now I'm more excited because also with that, talking about Paul Thomas Anderson, that scene in Magnolia where Tom Cruise shows up to talk to Jason Robards, and Tom Cruise said right about then his dad had died in real life.
Yeah.
So he was like, I could just dial into that of like, this whole thing. And it is that thing of like missed opportunities. There was a song a long time ago called Say, say what you want, say what
say,
you,
say,
whatever.
say, yeah.
No, not that one, but that was a good one. But yeah, no, it's like, say everything you need to now, like about, hey, Craig, you're an okay friend. I should say that. And so, no, you're a good friend. But those
you make me laugh till I have a hemorrhage, Phil.
There you go. Sure. I know. I'm like, oh my God, what Bruce Lee die of a hemorrhage? But anyway, you should say what you feel. You should be nice to people, whatever.
Be genuine and also know that, you can't take people for granted in your life because that only too often happens. And one day it might just be too late. Like maybe there's not the connection there anymore, or someone has walled themselves off. Matter of fact, there is a section in the Kim Morgan articles. Once again, Kim Morgan doing incredible work, where Jerry Walsh, right?
John, not John Walsh.
Josephus?
That's the guy
Joseph
who lost
Walsh.
his son. Rest in peace, Adam.
Oh dear Lord!
I know,
no.
right?
Found I gotta go.
Yeah.
So Walsh is talking about Robert Mitchum.
Yeah.
And to quote, I'm going to read from the article now. So Walsh says, I have some great Mitchum stories. I'd play poker. I'd have no money at the time.
Right.
I was making $1,000 a week to be in this picture. By the fourth or fifth day, Mitchum adopted me. He said to me that night, he said, I watch you every day, and you, son, are fucking double tough. I'm sorry, I'm doing my Bronson impression. I should really do the, I watch you every day, and you, son, are fucking double tough. Fucking A. You're double tough, kid. Gould says, double tough is great. Back to Walsh. He says, here's a great story with him. He loves me, right? So he says, kid, what are you doing after this? And I say, I don't know. I'll be slumming for a job. And he says, I'm going to try to get you in El Dorado. He was trying to get him Jim Caan's role. And he says, anyway, Bob goes out on a limb, and after a while, I'm learning by myself, and I'm thinking, he's a big movie star. So I start to lose confidence, and I become self-conscious. What am I going to do, follow Mitchum every day? He's got to do his own work. So he calls next New Year's Eve for his party. And finally, I don't call him anymore, right? I don't even get back after a while. Elliot's now doing a picture with him, and finally, you're on location, and he's down there. And again, Walsh and Gould are friends. He said, I just gotten involved with EST, which that's a whole other podcast to talk about, which is Erhard Seminars training.
It's this
a
big
wild
back
thing.
Then. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
And he says, and I'm like, Jesus, Mitchum is right here. He comes out of his trailer, and I say, Bob, great to see you. And he says, why didn't you call me? And he's pulling me in. He was having, Gould said he was having grass, surprise. And Walsh says, but so I go into the dressing room, and now the fear of being confronted by EST. I say, Bob, I got to go. I'll call you. And he's looking at me, and I'm trying to explain myself, but he's never heard of EST. And he says, what? I say this thing, I can't be late. It's almost the stupidest thing you ever heard, right? And it goes on, and that was it. Somehow I hurt his heart. Somehow, because when I visited him on the set of Matilda, by the way, the film about the kangaroo who boxes, a man who practically adopted me, I went over to him, and he said, casually, like he doesn't really know me, hi. So that's two different films. He's talking about later on when he visited. Because that's
but
there you
that,
go.
Yeah, those are those things where you could be feeling one way and somebody else could be feeling the other way. And if you don't say like, hey man, like really, like why didn't you? I thought we had a connection. I thought we could hang out, you and me and Paul Williams, and talk about my fence, what kind of yard it was.
That's right. That's right.
And but then he, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, now you didn't even call me after that. You could have but also you can see the other end of that. Like, what am I going to be, this hanger on? Like,
Yeah, but that's all speaks to insecurity. Like this guy was reaching out to him. This is Robert Mitchum,
Yeah, and that's the thing that these celebrities have, where people will think like, oh, they're a big thing, and like I don't want to bother him. And it's it's like there's an Al Pacino story. Speaking of Conan O'Brien, Al's like waving to him like at a restaurant, like, come here. And so he comes over, hey, I liked your show. I like you. Like, oh, okay. And he goes, Conan's like talking to him for a little bit. And then he goes, then I felt like I overstayed my welcome and I should leave because Al Pacino's got stuff to do. He goes, so I left, said thank you, left. He goes, next thing I know, ran into his buddy like later who was with him. And the buddy was like, dude, Al was like, where did he go? Like, what happened? Like, I thought we were having a conversation. And he's like, I just felt like I had to leave. Like, I'm bothering Al Pacino. No, Al Pacino's just hanging out. And
no, he came. Yeah, he beckoned you over. I've had that a little bit just through miscommunication with one or two people that were on the show. And it sucks because if the fracture happens, there's no going back. Yeah. And this even includes when people reach out to you to ask you, you want to come to this party we're having? Hey, you want to? So there's 3 times. And one time I legitimately could not make it. I was in another country and someone was having a bachelor party, and I just knew. I was like, this is it. This is the last. Like there won't be this thing going on, which is really too bad. One was someone was like, hey, keep in touch. And I did, but like not consistently or something like that, because I thought that, I don't want to bug them and whatever. And that's a thing of the past.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the thing of like, kind of the same, but not the same, but it cracks me up. Amber Heard was like, I'm going to get with Johnny Depp. We're going to be like, go to all these parties, like top of a game. Like, this is great. She goes there and it's just him hanging out with Sean Penn, smoking and doing coke maybe. And that's it. And she's like, what? 2 old guys talking. Like, I thought we were no, we're having whiskey and we're smoking cigars. Like, what do you mean? And it's that thing. Like, a lot of celebrities are like, no, when I got my downtime, we're just hanging out. Like, I just chill at home,
But I mean, this can happen with people that, aren't celebrities. I mean, it's with everyone. Not saying that you're inferring that. No, I'm saying like it can happen in all levels, but especially in a situation like that where Mitchum is trying to help him in his career and all this stuff.
Yeah, and has this connection. But that's where,
and he's going to Est. He's going to go to Est. Plus, when you have connections with people, when you have a connection with someone, you gotta foster that, and you gotta maintain it if you have the opportunity to. Now, some people feel that like there's some. I'm not mocking it, but like in the universe looks out for you, or God, or whatever. But a lot of times there's just these fucking traffic jams that fuck things up, and once they're fucked, you can't unfuck them.
Well, there's 2 things. One, my friend who had $1,000 a week cocaine habit. He's clean and sober now for a long time.
Wow, that's a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, he can run a handkerchief through his nose.
But hey, so look, something good came out of it.
I know, right? Everybody that he does that, we're like, gross.
I'm so glad he didn't have a hemorrhage.
But I know. Well, he might have. So him one day, I'm talking to him. I go, when you were dealing the drugs and you were in it, I said, I just thought, well, I thought we were going to be friends forever. But then I realized, like, that's a guy, Sean, that I talk about. I was like, then I realized, like, oh, I guess we're not going to be friends. And I just let it go. I was like, okay. And then I go, then years later, when you got at least off coke and was now into drinking beers, he reached out to me and was like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, oh shit. Like, and then we hung out, picked up right where we left off. Everything was great. And I had told him that story, and he said that hurt his heart from me telling him, like, I thought we were done. Like, and he was like, oh man, like I always thought we were friends. I just hadn't reached out to you. And then on the other end of that, and now we're friends, everything's good. On the other end of that is Rob, who's been on the show, Rob Papp. He sent me Black Narcissus on Criterion, and it had a note, and it was like, hey man, I know we've only met like in person once, and we're friends, we don't talk all the time, but I consider you a friend, you're a good guy, like all this great stuff. And I'm like, wow. And I had to sit with it, I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
Then I really sat with it and then wrote him and was like, dude, that meant a lot, like thank you, like you're important, like all of this stuff, because you, for one, can't take it flippantly, but for two, you need to, like we've said, like you and I send those audio letters back and forth, and they work because it's like, oh, I got this thought, let me tell Craig this thought, and you're like, I'm going through something, let me tell you this. Okay, good. And we don't like, I'm going to edit that out. No, we tell everything. So about how we hate our Patreon and our podcast listeners. No. But
no, you just hate mine,
but
and
that's
I hate
right.
yours.
And you hate
no, that's
mine.
a joke,
You're
folks.
like, why
that's
aren't
a joke,
they
folks.
my money? Yeah.
No.
but
no,
yeah.
it's the regularity. It's not it's not as if the friendship disappears because the regularity may shift and change. But it's a valuable thing to stay in regular contact, because there are people that you can just pick up wherever you left off. But then there's some people that, through whatever happens, the vicissitudes of life, or maybe a hemorrhage, and you just,
or the excavation,
it's not gone,
is that
but
what
it's like
Tarantino
there's
said?
something missing. And then if you get self-conscious about it, like Joseph Walsh did with Mitchum, as soon as you can get self-conscious about a friend, it doesn't matter where they are or why. Maybe you think that a perceived slight or something, then that in and of itself can cause things to crumble, and then you
and
can't
you look at
it.
everything else around you that way, and you go, oh, maybe.
Or you're treating them in a weird way, or you're going forward with this impression in your head that may not be rooted in reality, or who knows what.
And like you said, that's how me and Colleen are. We can not talk for months, and then all of a sudden she'll call me and we just pick right back up, and we're like, okay, but yeah. But soon maybe
so
I'll
that
be
lunch
off on the
movie
weekends.
would have
I
been
can hang out with her.
What's that?
Yeah, my dinner with those guys. I said, I said, what did I say, Colleen? I said soon I'll be off on the weekends when my wife becomes a nurse practitioner. Then I'll be off on the weekends, and then I can hang out with Colleen, because that's when she's off, and then I'm off during the week, and she's not. Blah blah blah. But Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus, yes, that movie would have been good. Reads, quote, aimless yet amiable. California Split is minor but rewarding Altman, elevated by the chemistry between leads Elliot Gould and George Siegel. I don't think it's I think it feels, like I said, when this started, I was like, oh, and then it started getting into it. And now you're like, oh, we're on a ride. This is cool. I'm ready for it. And it's got all the scenes that we talked about that are great. Like, oh. But
I personally didn't think it was aimless at all. I think it's interesting when an Altman film that's like the go-to thing. Oh, it's aimless, it's self-indulgent and all that. Now, he's made a couple of incredibly shitty pictures for sure, but this certainly I'm one of them. And aimless, I can't with this because
and
it's not aimless whatsoever. This is the life. We're being dropped into the life.
Yeah.
We don't need their backstory. We get it because we see the behavior, we see the situations that they're living in, we see how they treat other people and how they're treating themselves, which to me is all one needs, because what's the old adage, like, action is character?
Yeah. And that's, and maybe I didn't feel it was aimless, but I thought, oh, am I ready for this? Like I said,
I'm not saying you. I'm not attacking you.
No,
I'll do that later.
I'm just saying, okay, good. But then I was like, okay, this is great. And all those little things that happen that just, it's great. In this movie.
No, but I mean, like, sorry, the criticisms of his stuff, you go ahead. It's the trouble of,
Yeah, well, it's the
overlapping dialogue. That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
It's the 8-track mixing.
Rotten Tomatoes puts everything together from amalgamation of what everybody says, and then it, says here's what everybody said in this one concise thing, and it's like, no, I don't know how they do that. But anyway, in this movie, did you see anything you think Tarantino might have liked or used in a film?
Yes.
What do you got?
Okay, the relationship between the two guys.
Mm-hmm.
The the banter and also the heavy moments with each other, the way they're able to speak to each other in almost not in secret code, but they're able to lock into something. I think that would be the main thing that would leap out to me as something that he may have seen and be influenced by. Although he said he didn't really like it when it first came out. He was a very young lad when he first saw it. But despite his later dismissal of Altman techniques, I think there's some stuff that went in there, though his films are nowhere near in any rather not nowhere near, but they're not Altman-esque in any sense as far as I can tell, except for the dialogue, a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, and that's why his is like precise, like dialogue. It's almost low. You got to say it this way. And with Altman, like there was that thing in the article too, where he was telling Elliot Gould, "Why can't you do what these improv guys are doing?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's all you had to tell me. Why didn't you tell me? Okay, that's what you want. Okay, we'll go do that." And um, and and it's a thing of it's that like like him, like I've said before on the Patreon, I talk about Scorsese will do this improv, but it's not improv, but it's real natural. And that's how this kind of feels with Altman, is that we're not doing Shaping Scorsese, but that's how that with him doing like improv, like them doing like, oh, I had this thing I thought I could rattle off. Like he really thought he could rattle off all the seven dwarfs. And when he got halfway in it, he's like, then I started fucking up. And then our running joke was Dumbo, you know, the elephant, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
that scene is amazing. I mean, because that is very realistic types of bullshit talk, and it's so funny too. And what does he say? Snoopy. Like when he starts hitting the bad ones, the wrong ones. It's fantastic. Yeah. And then him like, I'll get it. And he's sleepy, dopey, like, grumpy,
wait. And but also it's the thing that we that I think I said, but I'm not sure. But what I liked with when the movie started, I thought, oh, these guys, they're the co-stars. They know each other. And then when it turns out they're at the bar and they don't know each other, I'm like, oh shit. Then they get to know each other. And then I'm like, and I think I'm in my head going, I hope that guy doesn't see them together. Sure as shit. They walk outside, the guy sees them together, and you guys are in cahoots. Which I love from Hateful Eight. You're in cahoots. So that I love that part. And then also that other thing of the guy robbing him, like they won the money, you're happy for him, and then that guy robs him, and then him being like, take half, and you're like, that's smart. Like, I just, this is big for me. Like I can't just give it all to you,
Yeah.
It would kill.
And also kind of like listen, I get it, you're robbing me, but you can't fucking take all of my money.
Yeah.
Sometimes people respond to that.
Yeah.
Apparently, because it's a true story.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what about you? What do you think about stuff that is in this that could have perhaps inspired Tarantino?
I think the friendship with those guys. I think them kind of joking around. I could see him liking the witty dialogue or the dialogue back and forth, or like the Elliot Gould character of like, this guy's funny. The thing of
he also loves loathsome protagonists.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And
not that Elliot is, but yeah.
And the thing of Elliot Gould laying it all out. Here's who I believe this guy is, because I've been around these guys. This guy here, he's done this, he's done that. And she's like, yeah, you're pretty right on. So I think that I can see him. I don't know. I mean, if I'm trying to get more into, like I told you, watching these movies by
Sean Hughes.
No, you're funny. Damn it,
Peggy Marshall.
No, Sidney Lumet.
Oh yeah.
I was watching these two Sidney Lumet movies, and I really started watching the directing. I'd never seen these movies before, and I was like, oh wow. And if you were to watch something like that, you could be like, oh, this is how he's setting up character. This is how he's, directing, like from like a far away with a close, zoom lens or whatever. So yeah, I see that. I see the dialogue, like you said. I see maybe the pacing or whatever, and kind of in a way, like I said, kind of a hangout movie. You're just like, where's this going? It's a roller coaster. Okay. Our
And also,
ratings.
they're talking all the way through. He did mention he found the sound irritating in some points that you can't tell what the hell's going on in California Split. But I would say that in California Split, the audio is perfectly done in terms of the multi-speaker thing. I've never had a problem with that. I've actually really enjoyed it. And I don't think any of it is super distracting. It's sort of what's happening in the room.
I could see people being distracted by it. Like I said, my cousin talks about trying to watch MASH. It distracted him. Like he was like, I can't get into it. I remember when I first, you're like, oh, what's going on? But then you get it, and it's like we said, it's overlapping full dialogue. It's not the Howard Hawks thing of like the little bit in the beginning and a little bit at the end. But it works because that's how conversations work. Sometimes you and I talked about doing the podcast. Sometimes somebody else is on, without a mic and they're just like talking and you're like, wait, what? And then they got to repeat themselves and you're like, oh, motherfucker. But yeah, I think it's recorded well. It's also that thing of you can make it out. You could, and that might make it even more fun. You could go back and be like, I was focused on Elliot Gould, what he was saying. Let me focus on what that person in the background's saying, or whatever,
For this viewing, I watched it with headphones, and I've seen it before just on a TV, as one would classically do, on a small TV and a very large TV, possibly other sizes in between, but with varying levels of quality of speaker. And the sound always was clear to me in terms of, or let's pick a scene when Siegel is having that run before he says to Gould, okay, let's go play craps. I'm playing and you make the bets.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic scene. But again, the suspense, it keeps making your stomach drop because he comes over and he's like, do you have any left? And Siegel looks wiped out. He looks wiped out. You can't tell from what's on the table what's going on. Because also, something I love, they don't go, look at these chips are $5,000. They're not telling you, except for moments where Elliot Gould says like, whoa, I haven't seen this many Bumblebee chips in forever, or something to that effect.
And that he's just like stuffing them in his pocket or whatever, and has them like on the railing and doesn't have them laying like in a movie. You would have, oh, I can barely see over these. They're so big. Like, look how much money I won. It's not really there. And you're like, is he ahead? Is he breaking even? Like, what's going on? And then
now
awesome.
there would be an establishing shot of the trays, or you'd see the whoever
superimposed $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. There'd be like a pan across it, and there'd be another tray being put up on top, loaded with chips, and you'd immediately know. This, you got to guess, but pretty quickly you know how well he's doing because he tells him. He's very happy, very excited, and boom, now it's time for some fun, but he knows right when it's over, and that's the key. And it almost says they know when it's over, or anyway, like they know when the run is not happening, when they've lost before, but they can't help themselves. They push past that because it's addicting.
But also that's what's good when you really think about it, is them working together. If it was one of them, Elliot Gould wouldn't be able to quit. I'm on a streak. I need to keep going. If it was him, he might do the same thing or quit too early. With him making the bets and him winning, like, we're good. Like, let's keep going, and it works.
Yeah. Up to when he knows it won't. I also like that he knows that Charlie is a cooler unintentionally, that express that term for a jinx or a mush.
Yeah. And the thing of, like you said, when he goes up to the window, he puts out so much money and you're thinking, okay, and then pulls out more out of his pocket, and Elliot Gould, I think, pulls out some more, and you're like, oh, they got more than we thought. Like, this is awesome. And then just taking the bags of money, like, it's cool.
I like that he uses George Siegel looks like he's not gonna throw up, but he's just like overwhelmed. He's like, holy shit, I just did that, and he's pouring them out of every pocket, and then Gould just grabs that giant bowl of pretzels and throws everything in, and then walks through all of his rat-a-tat-tat talk. That's one of the things that I think maybe nestled in Tarantino's head, and none of Gould's constant chatter is annoying. I find. I mean, you could see maybe how it would be in the situation. And I forgot to continue what I was saying about a scene with sound in it used in that way. There's the sound of the casino, the roaring sound of the casino, which someone mentioned in one of the articles. That really was how loud it was. That's not added onto. That's the real loudness. And while you're focusing on Siegel, you're hearing Elliot Gould behind him just talking, throwing things in, all of that. Now, and I worried. I remember going, wait, is he a jinx now because he's so close? But the thing is that that's what would happen if a guy was throwing those things out. You would hear that while the actual action was happening.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you'd hear, or just trying to jab at the other players or whatever, trying to make fun of them. Yeah, it's the thing. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, there is things where I've told you, me and the wife are hanging out in the hot tub. I'll be here all by myself all day. She gets home, we go to hang out in the hot tub, and I'll be like, oh my God, I was talking to Craig yesterday, and we did this podcast, and I saw this movie called California Split movie, and she's like, can you just keep it shut? Like, can we just relax in the hot tub? You don't need. I'm like, I've been here all by myself. Like, hang on, I want to talk. She's like, okay, just wait. I'm like, okay. So yeah. But it's done, but these characters just work together. Like, that's why, they should have been in more together. And, same thing with, when you see certain actors together, that's why you see where Hollywood producers are like, let's put them in something else,
Another reason why Steve McQueen would have been fucking horrible in this movie.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like anyone to outshine him. So therefore, if he's playing Bill Denny, the other guy's going to have his lines cut. He's going to be pulling some bullshit. Or he's going to be like, no, I got to make the bets too. I got to do the thing and the bets. Like, this is, it's a I'm the star of this picture.
Towering Inferno story. Okay, Paul Newman's going to get above you. No, we're going to be both. And I get to play the fireman that goes across the line and saves a guy. Okay, whatever, McQueen.
And you know that he insisted on having one more. They had like even amounts of dialogue. He insisted that he have one more line of dialogue. Yeah.
So
what a
silly.
dick. Steve McQueen was an asshole.
You know what was good talking about that? Sometimes there's a competition. You've heard it with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, but with Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, Chaplin would put out a movie with so many title cards, and Buster Keaton would be like, I'm going to do it in 15 instead of 16. And he'd put his movies out with 15 title cards. And then Chaplin would be like, I can do it in 14. And they just, and it fueled them each to, and they weren't angry at each other. They were just, friendly thing.
Friendly competition. Yeah. Which Steve McQueen knew nothing about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's that thing of hubris, of thinking you're higher than you are.
By the way, I'm also very happy that he was not in Sorcerer. I think Roy Scheider is perfect.
Well, and the thing which I talked about on the show later, but I already recorded it, but the thing where Spielberg wanted him for Close Encounters, and he was like,
that would have been horrendous.
I can't cry in the shower. My fans wouldn't accept it, me crying in the shower. And he's like, okay. Same thing. They wanted John Wayne to play that general that Robert Stack plays.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I knew that general. I can't make fun of him. Like, I knew that guy during the war. He's like, oh, okay. But
things work out. Things work out like that.
Exactly. Yeah. But that alternate history, how cool would that have been?
Although, of course, the original choice for Joe Gideon for all that jazz was Richard Dreyfuss.
Wow.
It would have been the worst movie ever made.
That would be weird. Yeah.
It'd be horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very weird. Yeah.
Now, I want to read a couple 1-star reviews of this movie. I love.
Okay, before we give our ratings.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, before I got excited. Okay. So you know, hey.
Well, either way, you can read those now, or we can rate it. Let's rate it first. We'll go first.
Yeah.
Our rating system here is 1 to 5. 5 being the best. You may kill me for this. I rate this movie 4 out of 5.
That's right, Phil. I'm coming over. I'm going to kill you. I'm hopping on a flight tomorrow, as long as they don't cancel it due to the fuel crisis.
That's right.
That's cool. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. 10s across the board. I love this fucking movie.
My thing too with these movies that I rate on here are some will be going at this level, and then all of a sudden toward the end they start increasing, and I'm like, oh, this is good. So maybe I'm like, I was going to give it 3.5. Boom, it goes up to 4. If I watch it again, now I know it, and now I'm like, oh wait, I clued into this and that, and But we didn't even talk before we get to the 1 stars. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about the crossdresser. The guy, the
Oh my
best
God, this is one of
scene
the best
in the whole
scenes in the
fucking
movie.
movie because, like, when I watched Partners, like we said, like Partners made that joke about, oh, okay, you're going to play a gay couple. One of you is gay, but now you're going to be gay as well, Ryan O'Neal. And here's your car that you're going to drive. It's going to be a pink Volkswagen, and you got to dress like this. And he's trying to, but he's total straight and like, I'm not that way. And when they're having the gay parties, he's trying to flirt with the girls and get with the girls.
Yeah.
And John Hurt is like, dude, I'm fucking, I'm right here. Like, you need to be at least in undercover. And but there was that, and then other movies where they would make fun of that. And then you
okay,
watch
let's highlight one in particular. Freebie and the Bean is very controversial regarding this subject. Okay, because there's a I don't know what term they use in the film, but it's not nice. And the treatment is bad as well. But I haven't seen that movie in so long. I can't remember if it's a situation where it's showing us what kind of guys these guys are and the way they treat him, or if it's a homophobic intent from the filmmaker. To me, that is the most important thing. For instance, in Busting, there's a scene at a gay bar. I don't find it homophobic because hold on, I got to say because it's not homophobic to me because it's showing what assholes Gould and Blake are. And they start a kerfuffle that never needed to happen. And also they get their asses beat by the guys, and justifiably, because they started some bullshit that did not need to happen. And in Partners, I think that Ryan O'Neal is the buffoon in it. Mm-hmm. Clearly the buffoon. And there's more humanization also, besides the fact that John Hurt is the hero. He's the one who saves the day. Daryl Larson, who is phenomenal in Mike's Murder, Movie Club and Mike's Murder coming out soon. Mm-hmm. Big, long one with Daryl Larson as part of it. He plays the neighbor in the building who goes and has drinks with Ryan O'Neal and chats about stuff. And actually, those scenes were shot at a real bar in West Hollywood during operating hours. Anyhow, that film, I think, escapes that as well. What was the movie you were going to talk about while you were...
That was the one while I was rambling.
No. While I had to get to the point about why that scene wasn't homophobic.
Mine was about Busting with, like, when they're at the police station being booked in court, you do feel for them. So it's not kind of making fun, but it is everybody else laughing at them in their drag. And what's good about this is the guy shows up and then they show up, and you already feel for this guy.
Let's just illustrate. Okay, yes. So the two ladies of the night, as we mentioned before, played by Ann Prentice and Gwen Wells, they have a big date. Now, throughout the previous part of the movie, they've been talking about, this guy gave me a 50, like it was really good, or that was supposed to be the deal. I got a 50 and he gave me 100. So now they're going to have a big date. They're talking about it. They're saying, oh, I wonder where he's going to take us to dinner. I wonder, what show we're going to, because this client really puts on the Ritz. And all we know is this client gives them a lot of money and they have a great time. And they're very fond of this client because the client treats them very well. Yeah. And the doorbell rings. And who is it? It is Burt Remsen in drag. And clearly trans person, as we would know it today, the term today. Yeah. It meaning the terminology, folks, not...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it came to the... that's his...
No. I did not say that.
No, I said it's not that. But that's his kink or whatever you want to call it. Like,
no. This is his safe place. Yes. This is his safe place where he can be... and he can be the lady that
that's what's awesome about it.
I can't remember the character's name, which is great because they say the character's name a number of times. But they are so
it's okay,
friendly and wonderful with her. What'd you say, Midge?
I said you had a hemorrhage.
I had a hemorrhage. But anyway, it's a beautiful scene because we see more about the character of the two prostitutes, which is something also that it rankles me when it's handled badly. When the sex workers are just like, they're degenerates or they're this. These two characters have their flaws, their problems, but that's not because they're prostitutes. So they're wonderful with her. And there's a moment of severe tension for me because Gould and Siegel want to take them out on a date, and they want them to blow this client off.
Yeah.
So what do? They pretend to be vice cops.
Yeah.
But before they bust in, Burt Remsen's character tells them that you're my best friends. And so again, we're seeing a slice of loneliness in there that's, this is the safe place.
Yeah.
But it's not real because they're not friends. You know what I mean? Like, it is real because sex workers have relationships that are real, but it's similar in a way to when Barbara is comforting Gwen Wells' character when George Siegel splits. Hey, but honey, we're going to go to Hawaii and it's going to be a great time. It's like there's an oasis for everyone that is keeping them going. It's the carrot on the end of the stick, which is the gambler's thing, which is, Barbara and I can't remember her character, Susan. Barbara and Susan it's like not the score, but the thing that's going to make everything okay. It's right over there, and we're going to get to it.
But also that they get along with this guy. Like you can tell that they kind of feel that, are they going to just like we do. We feel that Gould, and especially now, you feel that Gould and George are going to come in there, Siegel and Gould are going to come in there and fuck with him and call him names and make fun of the way he's dressed and do all this. And they don't. They're
at
like,
all.
He's like, they're like, treat him like, a human. And they
ma'am, you seem
mm-hmm.
like a respectable, educated person. Now, I don't know what you have going on with these two. Are you involved in this, ma'am? And it's beautiful because they are respectful.
Yeah.
Even though they're sabotaging the night and they're probably going to lose a client.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
you feel for him, but you also, are laughing because it is comical for them to want to be like, hey, we're Vice. But also, it's nice where it doesn't go that way, and especially being a 70s movie, and Partners being an 80s movie, and it's so good. And the thing that was in that article about him being like, "But I want to be a beautiful woman. I want you to make me beautiful," and they were like, "Okay, cool," and they did that, which is so awesome for an actor, not just to be, okay, I'm going to smoke a cigar and I'm going to have my 5 o'clock shadow and I'm going to have a wig on. It'll be funny. No, I'm taking it seriously. And if we're going into this, I want to be this character, and it works.
It's a really beautiful scene because it's such a mixture of tension and relief at the way that they're being, because if they were awful to her, you really wouldn't have liked them later on. It might have gotten laughs at the time or something, but that's all. It's just another bold choice.
Yeah.
For the time. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff in this. The sympathetic portrayal of Barbara and Susan, the sympathetic portrayal of degenerate gamblers. Like, they're saying that these are problems these people have. But these people are not wildly different from you and I. Like, we all have something that is afflicting us in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
And the affliction would not be, by the way, the things we're talking about. We're talking about like the loneliness or the search for something, or the I don't know, the habits that aren't good. That's not necessarily dressing up, but it's the other stuff,
and in the
unaddressed problems.
Yeah, all the stuff that that Rock Hudson went through, Tab Hunter, like all those things. And this guy's like, I have an outlet. I can go and I can be this. And
I can be myself with these two ladies, and that's
and that they
special.
didn't make fun of him before, and they don't make fun of him after. Like, it just works,
And even later, Gould and Siegel want to give them the money that they would have gotten that night.
Yeah,
because they know that they ruined the date.
Yeah. No, it's very sweet.
So now a couple 1-star reviews. I love 1-star reviews of movies I love because, it's obvious, because a lot of times I'm like, what a dum-dum. And the things that they don't like the movie for, like why they don't like the movie. This one is titled Low Lifetime. This is from Amazon. If you want to spend 105 minutes with several lowlifes, this movie is for you. No one has any class, a thoroughly seedy atmosphere. Also, I love the way they're written. They're terrible sentences, some with attempted proper punctuation. Well, this one has a semicolon, but no one has any class, semicolon. I think that's the one that's the dot and the comma, I don't know.
Yeah.
A thoroughly seedy atmosphere. So it says, no one has any class, a thoroughly seedy atmosphere. A thoroughly seedy atmosphere full with, and no one has any class would be a better sentence anyway.
Yeah.
You can feel degraded merely by watching it. A big flaw is the lack of motivation for the change in attitude, comma, at the end of the movie, comma, of the George Segal character. Really? The lack of motivation? Okay, I guess if you don't glean that, you're lost, my friend.
Yeah, you didn't see him. Yeah, you didn't see, but that's the thing where somebody like
why
you
did
and
he
I
change his mind? Why did he want to fix things?
Somebody like you and I would read that review and be like, I got to see this movie. It sounds amazing. Yeah.
It sounds great. Oh, lack of motivation to this person? Great. That means that it's really chock full of it. And then they say, at least Gould is as obnoxious as ever. Only lowlife say they didn't find my review helpful. Hello.
Wow.
Yeah. Looks like there's lots of lowlifes around, except two. I guess two people liked it.
Two people liked it. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another one is called Uninterruptedly Stupid. Uninterruptedly.
Wow. That's a
uninterruptedly.
Yeah.
Well, this person must have had a hemorrhage. Uninterruptedly stupid, punctuated by inappropriate music. And then in the body of the review, it states uninterruptedly stupid, punctuated by inappropriate music. I admired these actors in their other work, but don't think I will again. Is this really a film by the great Robert Altman?
Wow. He's like, Just shoot me the movie.
Yeah, I know. I admired them, but not anymore. I think they're awful. I that's it. I forswear anything they do.
Yeah. That's
I think they're Kanye or something.
Yeah.
And then this one says another DVD disaster. Now I think this review is more about the presentation of the original DVD, which was the first really widely available home video.
And they said on that DVD, I think they had to cut out something because of the music. They had to cut some little section out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it is because I've seen
a Cheech and Chong's little area.
Actually, I think it was. It may have been. I'm not sure. Beware, this is not the movie as it was meant to be seen. Although finally available and in widescreen, the disc presents a severely compromised version of Altman's great film. As detailed by Brad Stevens in Video Watchdog magazine number 116, it has been shorn of 3 minutes, cuts that render some scenes incomprehensible due to music rights issues, real or imagined by skittish studio lawyers. More damage has been done throughout by altering the soundtrack carelessly and stupidly wherever certain songs were originally heard in the film. What a shame. Don't erase those old tapes. I don't know.
It's and
maybe those cuts are what made it hard for that other person to figure out the motivation.
But also
of George Segal.
If it's only that little bit, like you don't even know, you haven't seen the pure version, so you don't know, like how are you
I'm not even sure. I think I think I have though. I think I think
version, for that person.
Oh, for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Did they see it? No, you're right. Yeah. Sorry, I was so overwhelmed by the amount of detail poured into it that it said, according to the guy at Video Watchdogs, meaning that you don't know, you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But this guy said it was
but
ruined.
also that they've seen the edited version is what I was saying. They haven't seen the pure version.
Yes, no.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like they're getting their information about how it's quote unquote ruined by because they read it in Video Watchdog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's see if there's any 2-star reviews. This is not bad. The title is A Waste of Time. The review says, not funny and rather boring. Turned it off. Ugh, waste of money.
Wow.
Then that's an interesting one. Yeah. Turned it off. Then another one, thought I would like this movie, but honestly did not. Okay, fair enough. Thought I would like this movie, but honestly did not. That's the body of the thing. It was not what I expected as far as a good movie about gambling.
Yeah, they wanted Rounders and they got this. Yeah.
No one had a tell that involved Oreo cookies, which is a great tell.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a great 3-star review, and we'll leave it at this, I think.
Okay.
3-star review, Gambler's Heaven. Here's the body of the review. Gambling, gambling, and gambling. That's it. That's it. Here's my question to you.
Yeah.
If this film is Gambler's Heaven, why is it only a 3-star review?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some things can never be known.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Just
maybe
like
they're saying, I give it a 3, but I think other gamblers would love it and they'll give it a 5, But that's a person who doesn't know about poker, who's just lost in the mire of gambling, of everything, or something, Did you want to hear Phil's film favorite of the week?
Yes, I would love that.
All right. It's an Elliot Gould movie.
Wait,
Capricorn.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yes?
Well, I just happened to catch a 4-star review here that was apparently written in process of watching it, which is a really good way to watch a movie. Like, try to type stuff online, as it goes, and then only update once. So far, so good. Well, I've only watched a few minutes, quality check, I guess, but looking forward to seeing this forgotten Robert Altman film. There we go.
Wow. And then never went back. Wow.
Yeah. No additional comments. No.
Yeah. No, finished it. It's great. Yeah. Capricorn 1, 1977. Tagline: The mission was a sham. The murders were real. Plot: in order to protect the reputation of the American space program, a team of NASA administrators turned the first Mars mission into a phony Mars landing. Under threat of harm to their families, the astronauts play their part in the deception on a stage set in a deserted military base. But once the real ship returns to Earth and burns up on re-entry, the astronauts become liabilities. Now, with the help of a crusading reporter, Elliot Gould, they must battle a sinister conspiracy that will stop at nothing to keep the truth hidden. I give it 4 stars. I had never seen it, but I'd seen bits and pieces, but not a whole thing. Just I knew that James, that guy. See,
Con.
No, see, Coburn pops into my head. It's not Coburn. It's Josh's father.
James Brolin.
James Brolin. Jesus Christ. I am bad. I swear. I don't know what it is. Maybe I need some ginkgo biloba or something.
That James guy. Josh's father.
Exactly.
That's incredible. And then there's that guy, that football player guy. Oh, what's his name?
Yeah.
What's his name?
The stabby wife guy.
Yeah, the wifey stabby guy. Hulk Hogan said he was a good influence on him.
Right.
Yeah.
What's his name's father?
Yeah. What's his name? Dan Marino.
O.J. Simpson's in it. Sam Waterston's in it. A young Sam Waterston. And then,
are you sure he's young? Sam Waterston has been old since he ever hit the screen. That guy's
seemed
never
young in that movie.
Yeah, he's like Wilford Brimley. He never looked young.
That's right. He's like 40. But it was good. I liked it. Eric sent me the imprint of it. The imprint releasing, and it's great. And I haven't watched the director's cut, but I watched the regular one. But it was good.
Peter Hyams' picture, right? The same guy who directed Bustin'.
Yep. And Running Scared, my favorite. Have you watched anything? And Outland. Have you watched anything recently that you would like to share?
Just honestly, just this movie. Just to mention again, we have a 3-year-old, and there's been a lot of super simple songs. Miss Rachel and Teletubbies going on. And I've been cutting a lot of shows. So I'll say I've seen episodes of my podcast, Craig and Friends, which of course you're already subscribed to. But if you're not, hustle on over there after you finish this, or subscribe while you listen to this.
Yeah,
but don't stop listening. Yeah. And then go to Patreon/Craig and Friends, where you're going to find a whole host of wild and wacky stuff, including raw tape interviews for the forthcoming To Live and Die in LA mega special movie club. And one of the latest episodes up is a chat with Billy Peterson. Yes, William Peterson, now retired, in a rare interview, talks to me about all kinds of stuff.
It was great, and I listened to the one that you did, the little live Q&A with Wang and Chung, which was great.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's up there now too. Yeah,
and that was good. And then
also Deborah Fewer.
And then I started to listen to I started
the Monkeys,
to listen to
the Monkeys Movie Club.
One. Yeah. And but I need to watch that again, even though I know it's not great. But I'm a Monkeys fan.
It's great.
About in the beginning,
I love the movie.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah.
And now that I know, I could probably listen to your thing and then go into it and then watch it with bigger eyes. Bigger eyes, like big.
Yeah,
eyes,
both
like,
bigger eyes. Yeah, why not?
Well,
you wear those like comedy glasses.
Yeah,
you can watch it through that.
Tim Burton, that movie. Yeah.
I do recommend. Yes, first off, it's on YouTube, and the audio just went up yesterday. And there are a lot of illuminating and illustrative clips and bits that I put in there to give some more context as to
Cool.
BBS Productions, Burt Rafelson. Sorry, I just did it. Thank you, Bob Rafelson.
See, you're welcome.
And yeah, Bert and Ernie and all those folks.
Jimmy Nicholson.
Jimmy Nicol, the guy,
Yeah,
only guy who
yeah.
played with the Beatles besides
right.
on drums besides Ringo. Yeah, Jimmy Nicol filled in on the Australian tour.
That was so good. Oh, the Monkees are so good. Anyway, come back next week on May 22nd for this show, when I will be joined once again by movie lover and author Fred Schaefer for... Now we got Coming Attractions. That's right. From 1952, it's Hellgate. The plot is a man is framed and sent to the toughest prison in the territory. So yeah, you can find Hellgate streaming for free on Prime Video or with ads on Tubi, Roku, or Fandango at Home and Fossum. Or you could rent or buy it digitally on Amazon Prime, Fandango at Home, or you could buy a physical copy. But I watched it on Amazon Prime. No commercials. It was great. Sterling Hayden movie. Him and Ward Bond and James Arness is in it. So
wow, sounds like a hell of a good time.
It was. I enjoyed it. And you told where people can find you. Unless you want to tell them some more, you can tell them some more.
Well, I think they got the message, and if they didn't, well, just rewind, just rewind.
Right.
No, Craig and Friends is the podcast.
Button.
Craig and Friends is also the name of the podcast, and Craig and Friends, patreon.com / Craig and Friends. And then on the social medias, Instagram is Craig and Friends Pod. On X and all the other ones, it's Craig and Friends. Yeah.
Awesome. I was going to tell you a story. I guess I'll tell it now before I end. It was funny the other day. I go in after recording for you for that little bit, and I go into the bedroom, and the wife's watching some reality show, and I hear the one girl say something about Vanderpump, and I go, "Oh, Is this Vanderpump?" And the wife's kind of playing her game, but has it playing, and I'm like, "Oh, is this Vanderpump?" I go, "Craig used to do. He knows these people, and da da da," and then I'm watching it a little bit, and I go, "No, this looks familiar." And then I go, "Oh, is this that Mormon Wives thing?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh, okay." So it's like these, like, they got all the Botox in, and they're all, duck faced, and it's like, oh my God. She's like, "I don't know why I'm watching it, but I'm watching it. Like, I hate it, but I'm watching it." I'm like, "I hear you." So then we watch something better. But anyway, that was just a funny thing that I just thought of. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had fun and maybe learned something about a movie that made a part in making Tarantino. Goodbye. And then you say goodbye. Look at.
Oh, right. Sorry.
I didn't think I'd have to tell you.
Thanks.
You
thanks.
over. Probably playing online poker.
Yeah. Well, I was. God damn it. I was. There we go. Yeah. So the other thing didn't work that I was trying to do, but that's fine because it seems like that was intentional.
More Martha Ray?
No, it was this. Yeah. Let's hear it for Phil Duke,
thank you.
the second, and making Tarantino. And I'd like to thank you all very much for listening to this episode and every other episode of this show. And Craig and Friends. All right. Yes.
Yay.
Okay, everyone get home safe now.